Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the greatest live show of all time. That is right, everybody. Today we're doing another episode of Incel Slop, okay? But today is a little bit different because there's one incel that I actually like. For any of the VOD watchers, I will be including timestamps in the description below, so feel free to skip around, or at least I'll try to. I'll try to remember to do that. But there's one incel that I actually like. He goes by ChadletMaxxing on YouTube, okay? And I don't agree with him on everything. We're going to be criticizing some of his views in this video. But the reason I actually like him is because he's a lot more reasonable than most, right? He gets kind of close to a lot of the conclusions that I come to. He's got a lot of valid criticisms, but he doesn't always come to the correct conclusions. And that's what I want to be analyzing today. Because I think he's actually fairly intelligent. I think that he's somebody that I want to have on stream at some point. I've actually talked to him. Oh my god, I can't even speak properly. God damn. I've talked to him in DMs, and he's actually like a fairly sweet guy. Like, he's actually really nice. And when he calls himself an incel, like, he doesn't hate women or anything like that. He's literally just involuntarily celibate. What's my cat doing? What is she? Reese, what are you doing? There. Oh, I think she's gonna leave, isn't she? Okay. Sorry about that. With that being said, hello, Link of TDLVU. Congratulations on being the first person chat. Hello, SS Caro. Hello, KK. Yeah, it's been a while. I forgot to do the announcement thing on Discord, but whatever. I'm just gonna chill for a few minutes, and then we'll get right into the content, okay? Because a video that piqued my interest, that prompted me to leave this comment a week ago, was, would you be willing to talk to me and or debate me on a live stream at some point? You're actually insanely close to understanding systemic issues, and we surprisingly agree on a lot despite me being significantly further left than you. And he responded saying, possibly. I do worry about attracting negative attention from your followers, though. I think that's fairly reasonable. Obviously, he's not going to be too familiar with what I do or what my audience is like. I'm actually not as big as my channel would suggest. Most of my subscribers are from shorts. My channel is dead. Okay. But I understand why he would be concerned about that. But no, I would not be having him on to make fun of him or anything like that. I have had people on for that in the past. But no, this is somebody that I genuinely have a positive opinion of. I just disagree with him on some stuff. I don't want anyone getting mad and trying to report my videos. Again, he's not familiar with you guys. Obviously, you guys and I know that we're not about that. We don't fucking report people or do any dumb shit like that, right? Obviously, he's not going to know that. It's reasonable that he would be worried about that, especially since I'm the larger YouTuber in this case. I've also got a lot on my plate right now, but I'm open to it. I have my email address available if you want to send specific info. I actually DM'd him on TikTok. He actually doesn't have his email address in his about me. So I was like, okay, let's try TikTok DMs and see if that works. And it worked. So that's sort of where this started. I watched some of his other videos. He makes a lot of good points. Some of his points not very good. I think I disagreed with him the most in the video that we're going to watch today because he gives me the most to talk about. And yeah, yes, we're back. We're very, very, very back. But yeah, this is a late night stream. I don't expect to get very many viewers on this because it's 1 in the morning. It's almost 2 in the morning at this point. And we're talking about something relatively niche. So yeah, it's probably not going to attract many shorts viewers because it's lower energy. But I'm passionate about the topic, so I want to talk about it. You look a little bit like a boy, but that's a good thing. I like that. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I guess. If you hear them, we are back. I'm God now. Hell yeah. Let's go. Hello, Daniel Barry. Hello, you know who I am. Hello, Tubian. Hello, Jeremiah. Hello, Abject. I think you're cute. Thank you all, Pat, and welcome. What's your favorite genre of music? Chicago drill. And welcome to the stream, Senior Squatch. I am not from Pennsylvania, nor am I going to say where I'm from. Maybe I'm from Pennsylvania and you'd never know. My name is Vera, by the way. Hello, Vera. I'm going to try to remember that, but I'll probably forget. Chicago drill. Hell yeah, dude. That shit goes hard as fuck. Yeah, I know. I don't look like somebody that would be a listener of Chicago drill, but I am. I listen from time to time. Not always, but sometimes. I think it's what I go back to the most if I don't know what to listen to. So I'd say that's probably my favorite genre because I listen to it the most. I had a dream about Shrek. Good stuff. Good stuff. Do you got a dong? Okay, all right. Wonderful stuff happening in the Femyoz YouTube chat. I'm just a troll deciding if it's worth getting banned here. Normally I just skip for Christian and decent people. What does that mean? You're deciding if it's worth getting banned here. So you skip Christian and decent people. Why Christian people? Christian people are the easiest to rage bait. You're not going to rage bait Christians? Why? They get so mad so easily. Do you have pants on this time? No, but I do got a skirt on. So, yeah. Christians are boring? No, they can be quite funny to troll. It's like, obviously, they believe in a delusion, and it can be very, very fun and satisfying to make fun of them for it, because they get super angry. Show tits, okay. No, I will show my fit. This is my outfit. But yeah. No, not the past. No, not past the point I have what? I'm confused. That's actually false. People like you don't like being told that you are wrong. Well, nobody likes being told that they are wrong, but somebody like me can just say, well, no, you're just like wrong about that, or like make an argument. Like if you just like make like a claim without evidence, you know, unlike Christians who believe in that shit, they worship that shit, they love claims without evidence. You know, I'll just ask for evidence. Because that's what my worldview is based on, is evidence, facts, logic, and reasoning. You know, that's what I believe. How big is your cock? Okay. All right. Cool outfit. Happy 2026. Hell yeah. Very sorry about all the weird people. No worries. We get it all the time. Christians tend to show evidence. People like you don't. Okay, where's the evidence that Jesus rose from the dead? If you say the Bible, then where's the evidence that the Bible is a reliable source of information? No one said cock? Well, that's just like not true. You just like scroll up in the chat. I've been a subscriber since the olive oil run controversy. Oh, I remember that. Your dad's a priest, right? That's a kind of a creative way to ask, did you get raped as a child? That's pretty funny, I can't lie. See, now you are already mad? Why? Because I asked you questions in the free marketplace of ideas? How dare you challenge my ideas? You must be angry. What? Proof y'all get mad much faster than Christians. Yes, as I talk calmly. I feel like calmly explaining why somebody is wrong is not the same thing as getting mad. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, is your bar, is your threshold for whether or not somebody is mad or whether or not they disagree with you? Like, what are we talking about? You know you can disagree with someone without being mad, right? Charlie Kirk didn't die for this. Dude, I'm gonna dig up Charlie Kirk and fuck him in his neck hole. If you think I'm debating, you are delusional with anger. Okay, so you're not debating, you're just stating claims with no evidence. Gee, that's so much better. We are not talking, we are disagreeing. Yeah, disagreement requires talking, generally. I mean, maybe you could find out some other way that you disagree with someone on something. You could, I guess if you don't count typing as talking. Anyways, God is real. You should repent. Why don't you repent to this dick? Also, yeah, dude, I'm gonna fuck Charlie Kirk's neck hole. I'm gonna dig him up and fuck him in his neck hole. George Droid Moggs Charlie Clanker, bro. Bro, imagine believing in a talking snake and a magic man who walked on water. Bro. Actually so delusional. I love you. Ha, I'm gonna fuck him in his neck. Whole true. Keep true to yourself, fuck a bigot. Hell yeah, dude. I'm literally gonna fuck a bigot. Yeah, with my dick. Yeah, you're right. I think my dick could fit in his neck hole. Nobody finds you funny. Well, that's just not true. I have like a whole audience of people that find me funny. Just like wrong about that. It's called faith for a reason. There's no evidence. Exactly. That's why they're delusional. Why are you acting so hateful? I guess saying true things is hateful now. Okay. Right. Yeah, saying true things about Christianity and Charlie Kirk is hateful. How dare you? It's so fucking goofy. What did I just hear? Shy, are you not banned, lol? Well, because I didn't violate TOS. I'm also against people getting banned in general. I think that people have a right to free speech. You said you were going to do horrible things to his course. How is it not hateful? It's fucking funny, dude. I'm sorry, you can't argue with funny. You don't know the truth. Oh no. So Kirk is allowed to tell people they would be better off dead, but we can't say the same. No, literally. It's such a dumb double standard. It's so dumb. Yeah, how's Erica Vance doing? That's a good question. It's not funny, TBH. Well, you don't think it's funny because, you know, you're offended by it. But if you weren't offended by it, you'd find it funny. Is the incels in chat? No, we're gonna be talking about the one incel that I actually like, okay? His channel is called ChadletMaxxing. And he calls himself an incel, not because he hates women. You know, as base as that would be, he actually doesn't hate women. No, he's just involuntarily celibate. And while I do disagree with him on quite a bit, which is one of the reasons we're going to be watching this, is because I disagree with him on some stuff. He's not like a bad person or anything. He actually seems genuinely nice just from having talked to him. So, what the fuck is a Chadlet? It's like a Chad, but short. Anyways. Femi, are you in need of a face-shaped seat? I'm trying to sell one. Dude. What is this chat? Okay. All right. Anyways, we're gonna take a look at this. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm yapping. All right. It's 1 in the morning. It's almost 2 in the morning at this point. And my hair is a mess. But we're gonna try to, you know, trudge along anyway. Okay.
You are not ugly. You are dangerous.
No, I'm actually ugly and dangerous.
You are creepy. It is not a male loneliness epidemic at this point. It is a male consequence epidemic.
No, not necessarily. I think that she's wrong here. I think that the clip of the person that he's playing is wrong. And the reason I say it's wrong is mainly due to the fact that there is a male loneliness epidemic. Now, I do believe it's the case that it's caused by the patriarchy, and that if the systems in place were different, that this wouldn't be the case. But I'm not going to blame, you know, individual men for that, right? If you're born as a man, you don't choose to exist in a society that's patriarchal in nature. You didn't make the patriarchy. You didn't fucking invent that shit. You are merely somebody that is affected by it. There's also this common misconception that the patriarchy exclusively has a negative impact on women. This isn't true. It's disproportionately going to negatively impact women, but it also harms men. It harms everybody at the end of the day. Nobody benefits from it.
The loneliness epidemic is natural selection.
So earlier this week, a female doomer YouTuber I used to watch crashed out hard and alienated her mostly male audience by coming out as a full-blown misandrist.
All right, full-blown misandrist might be a bit much, but we'll see.
Shelby exists and makes stuff. She's basically the female 32-year-old equivalent of the neat stay-at-home son archetype.
So the neat stay-at-home daughter archetype, then.
Except these days, she's not really a NEET anymore. She's almost like a professional artist who sells her honestly well-done paintings to her audience.
So she's like me where she would be a complete loser, but she has like a YouTube thing that makes her money.
Without ever leaving her room in her parents' house.
Okay, so yeah, she's still like, kind of the same.
And the irony? This time, she painted all men in broad strokes and with a toxic brush, generalizing us with the worst possible stereotypes and dumping all her personal baggage on lonely, involuntarily celibate guys. The video backfired hard. It lost her nearly 1,000 subs, got dislike bombed, and she quietly set it to members only. Luckily, I saw that coming, and I saved the worst parts. Let's go through this together, because honestly, if I were you, I wouldn't want to go through this mess alone.
Okay, it must be some really bad shit.
You are not ugly. I repeat, you are not ugly. To women, you are dangerous. You are creepy.
Again, I'm not sure who she's addressing here. Like, is she addressing all men? Is she addressing incel men? Like, what is she addressing here? If she's addressing the incel community, yeah, a lot of the incel community is going to be like that. Now, it's not going to be everybody that's an incel. There are some people that call themselves incels that are perfectly normal people, aside from the fact that they can't get laid. I would say that ChadletMaxxing is an example of this. He's actually fairly normal. He's actually a fairly nice person, from my experience. But if we're talking about, generally speaking, yeah, like a lot of incels are going to be kind of scary. IDK, is she a little right? It depends on how you look at this. I think that the issue that ChadletMaxxing is going to take is he's going to think that she's talking about all men when she's specifically addressing a subcategory of men, right? But she's not specifying that. And if you're autistic, it might be a little bit different. I don't know if ChadletMaxxing is autistic. I am. And I guess I'm just assuming that he is because he's kind of similar to me in a lot of ways. Because I used to think that it was referring to all men. And then I transitioned and became friends with more women. And then I realized, oh, when women say this, they're not literally saying, all men are like this. And I do think that, we probably should be a little bit more clear about that because it's clear to us when we say it to each other, but it's not necessarily always clear to men, right? I'm a proud femcel. Yeah, honestly, this guy is like the male version of a femcel. I guess he's like a mask cell because like whenever I think incel, I think like, person that's like misogynistic and hates women, right? But this guy does not hate women. He's not misogynistic at all.
It is not a male loneliness epidemic at this point. It is a male consequence epidemic.
Who is she?
Yeah, I gotta disagree with her on that. I don't think that it's a consequence epidemic. Like if it's the case that you're lonely, that's not necessarily going to be your fault. That's going to be caused by societal conditioning and structure, and B, whether or not, people even notice you exist, right? A lot of men are invisible. I know for a fact, firsthand, when I was presenting as a guy in society, I was practically invisible, right? I was just some like 5'6" dude. Okay, I was a twink, so I wasn't invisible to some fruitier people. Let's just say some gay people were into me, but now there's more gay people that are into me than ever before. Now that I'm out as trans, and I get way more attention. And granted, a part of that is going to be the fact that I'm more interesting, now that I'm myself. But I think the biggest part of it is, yeah, generally women are going to get more attention than men. And that's a byproduct of patriarchy at the end of the day, right? Because women are seen as these trophies to achieve, right? And a lot of men will do anything they can to get said trophy. And they might not view it that way, but society does. Because society views it that way, they view it as valuable in some way, whether they consciously understand this or not. See, it's actually quite brutal. Because what the patriarchy does is it tells you that if you're a man, your self-worth is determined by your income and your ability to get as many women as possible and to get the hottest woman possible. If you're a woman, it's even worse because you're told that your value as a woman is determined by basically how attractive you are, the most immutable characteristic. So it's even worse if you're a woman.
Even talking to here? Who is you? If it's me, thanks, Shelby. I know I'm not ugly.
I don't think she's talking to you.
That's not the problem. The problem is that I'm 5'3.5". I'm smaller and weaker than most women.
So I don't think it's you that she's talking to. And this is what I mean when I say he's going to do the autistic thing and think that she's talking about all men when she's not.
So by definition, I'm not dangerous unless I have a weapon, which would make me only about as dangerous as the average woman with that.
No, I fundamentally disagree. And the reason is if you're 5'3" and the average woman is 5'4", you're also going to have testosterone in your system. So you're going to be physically stronger than the average woman, right? Just from the standpoint of you have testosterone, unless you're really weak even for your height as a guy. Right?
Same weapon. But let's be real. She's talking about all men here.
We don't know that. We have no reason to conclude that.
And this is where the problem begins. Assuming all lonely men are dangerous and creepy, there's no nuance here.
I do think that she is, painting, she is painting strokes with a broad brush. And maybe you could make a critique of that, but I don't think she's literally saying that like every single, like an essential property of being a lonely man is that you are this way. I think she's just talking in generalities.
Whatsoever. No room for variation. Guys like me are unrepresented. Sure, manlets like me are capable.
Well, obviously she's not going to be complaining about you.
Being creepy, but not necessarily dangerous. Chad could leer at a woman all through class, then compliment her on her body, and most women would blush and go weak in the knees.
I think it depends on how he does it. And the reason I say that is you can be very conventionally attractive, in terms of the way you look. And let's say you're tall. Let's say you're clavicular, for instance. You're going to be more attractive than the average man by quite a bit, right? Most straight women are going to find people that look like clavicular to be fairly attractive, right? That's just sort of how it is. But you'll notice that when clavicular does these Twitch streams, he does kick streams where, he tries talking to women, he's constantly getting rejected. Well, why is that? Well, it's not because of his height. It's not because of his looks. It's because he's weird and creepy and insufferable, right? If you want to get bitches, maybe, don't go up to them, asking them if they love Hitler and asking them to do the Roman salute, right? Maybe don't do that because you come across as really weird and autistic if you do that.
The ugly short kid steals a glance for 3 seconds too long. He gets reported to the school, threatened with suspension, and brutally dominated and intimidated by her tall male orbiter friend.
I mean, is this something that's happened to you?
Remember, guys, being
if so, then I can empathize with
lonely means you're creepy, and being ugly means you're creepy. But the same behavior...
I do think that to an extent, yeah, this is kind of how society works. Like, yeah, generally it's going to be the case that you are treated worse or better based on how you look. I do think that that does have a real impact. I mean, the halo effect has been studied. It's a real thing.
If you're from a tall, attractive guy, oh, that's confidence. Now, I've listened to true horror stories on YouTube for a decade, so I do understand how women feel about these things. If anything, it should remind me the importance of the right to bear arms, or even just carry pepper spray. That's what I do. Yet you believe that those rights should be taken away.
Well, that's just like an assumption that's not based on anything. I mean, hell, I'm considered far left by most people on the basis of me, being in favor of market socialism, for instance. I'm pretty agnostic when it comes to gun rights. I don't necessarily have a problem with people owning guns. I do think that there should be things like background checks. I'm not necessarily in favor of banning different types of assault weapons either.
It's a self-destructive ideology, and you're trivializing your position by claiming all lonely...
Right, but you're doing the same thing here where you're, painting with, you're painting strokes with too broad of a brush, right? There's not one singular ideology, right? You don't know that, right? You could have the beliefs that this woman believes in this video while also being pro-gun. Now, maybe she's said that she's anti-gun in a different video that I'm not aware of, but based on what I've seen...
Men are dangerous. A lot of us have been traumatized by women like I was in middle school. I'll link that video in the description.
I saw that video and it was pretty brutal.
I realize you have trauma and I feel for you, but it's also traumatizing to have your female therapist label you as dangerous in your medical records when you're not.
I mean, is that something that's happened?
And to say
I also don't think that whether or not she's female has any relevance.
The male loneliness epidemic is a consequence epidemic, that is the definition of victim blaming.
Yes, to an extent, yeah. Yeah, I would argue, yes, men are also a victim of the patriarchy.
I'll get more into why as we go on, but it's very clear that what matters most when it comes to attracting women are the things outside of our control. Genetic disadvantages are as...
Yes, but I think that the same thing goes for women too, right? Like if a woman is, got a disfigured face or, whatever it may be. Like if a woman is... Now, I would say that women are more attractive on average, but they also take better care of themselves on average. And I'm also a lesbian, so I'm going to be a little bit biased. But, yeah, there are ugly women that exist. And they have to go through the same shit. And I think that often gets overlooked in communities like this.
Unchangeable as race and suboptimal upbringings that lead to stunted growth are often the results of generational poverty. Imagine.
See, and he says shit like this where he's so close to being in the money. Where yes, the primary issue here is class. More specifically, classism.
Imagine telling someone of a certain race that the discrimination they experience is a deserved consequence of their own actions. Not very liberal of you, Shelby. The genetically and developmentally disadvantaged experience a lifetime of trauma from bullying and rejection, and our personalities.
I wouldn't necessarily compare it to racism. I think that they'd be on different levels. I think racism is generally going to be worse, but I do think that what he's describing is a real issue, right? And because he's not moaning about nothing and complain, because there was a, who was it? It was ChadletMaxxing that I did a stream on the other day. And he was just like bitching and moaning over nothing. This guy has some legitimate complaints, right? This guy, you know, I don't agree with everything he says, but a lot of the things he says are kind of true.
Are shaped by this inescapable prejudice and exploitation.
Oh God, he is smug about it? I wouldn't consider him to be smug. I don't know, maybe his inflection comes off that way, but I'm not getting smug.
Days are filled.
Also, hello, Ashlyn. Very good to see you again. It's been a long time.
With sadistic microaggressions, constantly being dehumanized and reminded of our place in the hierarchy. And since looks, and especially height, are associated with wealth and high social status, this is essentially an extension of the systematic oppression of the lower classes.
Maybe. I'd have to look more into it. I don't know how much of a link there is between height and wealth. Though I do think that there is going to be some amount of link, because obviously if, say, for instance, you're shorter, that the shorter you are, the less seriously you're going to be taken in the workplace on average, right? That's generally just sort of how it works. People are going to have unconscious biases where if they see a short person that is, you know, being assertive, they might view it as like, you know, short man syndrome. They might be like, oh, they're compensating for something. Whereas if like a tall Giga Chad does it, it's like, oh yeah, dude, he's confident, he's assertive, he knows his place, you know, at the top, you know. I do think that there is going to be some amount of discrimination here. Mind you, I would also argue that this is, in a way, a form of sexist discrimination. And the reason that it's sexist is because it disproportionately has a negative impact on women, because women are going to be smaller on average. And because people that are smaller are generally going to be viewed as more insignificant, more submissive. I mean, quite literally, like visually beneath you, right? They're going to be treated, you know, a little bit worse, taken less seriously. I think that's going to be, you know, a big part of it.
And you are playing right into it by kicking those who are already down, who did nothing to deserve their lot in life and never even asked to be born. You're blind to your own prejudice.
Yeah, it's kind of based, actually. Like, yeah, we didn't ask to be born. I've been saying this shit for years.
And how it colors your perception of our behavior with a clearly negative bias. And this is yet another form of oppression that we face. We're victims of society, and you're blaming us for our own fate. Hard to be more cruel than that.
The average
to an extent, yeah.
man risks getting their feelings hurt when they get rejected by a woman. When a woman says no, we literally risk our lives.
This is true, by the way. Like, yeah, if you're a woman, you have to circumnavigate that situation very, very carefully. And the reason is because men, on average, are way the fuck physically stronger than us. So if there's a guy that, you know, we're not attracted to that asks us out, you know, that can be very scary depending on the situation and depending on, like, are there other people around that would, you know, be able to stop them? Like, you know, are we by ourselves? Like, you know, what's the context of this? You know,
most men have never been followed home, groped, or cornered by someone 3 times their size and strength, whose only intention is to fuck you with or without your consent, and it
yup, this is
shows.
True.
You know, it seems to me like Shelby doesn't speak for all women here. From what I've seen, there are plenty of women who do enjoy the risk and danger involved with being approached by an unknown male.
No, women do not enjoy this, okay? Maybe what you're thinking of is fantasies that people write on Wattpad and Tumblr, but that's not the same thing as what they actually want. And I'll explain. There is a fundamental distinction between having rape fantasies and wanting to get raped. I say this as somebody that has rape fantasies, okay? I fantasize about, you know, a big, strong, beautiful woman fucking raping me all the time, okay? It's something that I just grew up wanting. Now, I don't want that to happen in reality. I don't actually want to get violated like that. But the idea of it is really fucking hot. Right? There's a distinction.
But there's one little catch. Only if he's 6'3" or taller. You have no idea.
Well, no, that's what they're fantasizing about, but they don't actually want that. That's what you're not understanding here, is there's a difference between what they fantasize about versus what they actually want, right? And this is why a lot of people are into consensual non-consent. But the most important letter of CNC is the first C. Because without the first C, it's just rape. And nobody wants to actually get raped. Unless you're Rose Mallet.
Yeah, how many female fantasies I've read online about how hot it is for them to think about how the towering god of a man they're with could easily do anything he wanted with them, and
Yeah, but notice how that's a fantasy and that's not necessarily what they would actually want. Also, if there's...
they'd be completely helpless to stop it. How such immense power and potential danger from a tall, strong man is a...
Well, hold on. If they know on some level that that man isn't going to do that to them because they trust them, then like, yeah, that's going to be hot. Right? I wouldn't want to be in a situation like that, though, where it's like, you know, he could do that and, like, I don't know if he's actually going to or not.
deep carnal desire that most women dream about. To fully submit and surrender to his dominance.
I don't think that this is what most women want. Like, this is very, you know, BDSM brains. Look, I understand being into BDSM. But most people don't want that. I want that, but... no, I don't think most people...
How do I understand this so well? Because I'm attracted to the exact same thing in women. Height.
Jesus fucking Christ, this guy's psycho. No, he's just mentally ill.
Broad shoulders, muscles. I want to fully cede control to her powerful frame.
Dude, this guy is so fucking base. This is why I love this guy. Fucking listen to this shit. This shit is awesome.
Because I'm attracted to the exact same thing in women. Height, broad shoulders, muscles. I want to fully cede control to her powerful frame.
Dude, this is why I support this guy. That's one of the reasons I like him. I fuck with him hardcore. Because same. That is so fucking relatable.
Feel defenseless and pathetic next to her.
Dude, I mean, that's fucking hot as shit. I'm sorry. Like, I want that too.
And considering a towering football player can potentially be as physically dangerous as a full-grown...
See, now you guys understand why I like this guy.
...bear, how come it's the little guys she sees as the ones to be afraid of? I can understand being afraid of an average size or tall, fat, sub-5 male. But honestly, if the tall guy lost the weight and looks maxed, most women would probably lust after him too, considering how rare tall men are. Can't be too picky
Tall men are not rare.
about something as unimportant as face. A face can't...
I've always cared way more about face than height. I say this is somebody that's into women though, so...
dominate. A face can't provide or protect in a primal setting. So again, it feels like opposite day when the least imposing men are also somehow viewed as the most dangerous.
I don't think that it's viewed that way, though. I don't think that you're viewed as particularly dangerous.
And assumed to be criminals, regardless of how helpless they are to him. And if we leave height out of the equation, ChadletMaxxing said it best. Women are often prejudiced toward unattractive men.
Hold on, this isn't a gender thing. This is just, in general, people are prejudiced towards those that are less attractive. I mean, it has nothing to do with gender.
Reading facial expressions and body language and seeing danger where there is none. You don't fear him.
Yes, but like the same thing applies in both directions. People apply these standards either way.
Because of something he did, but because of his ugly face and bald head.
Like, beauty standards didn't suddenly disappear as soon as I became a woman. They actually became worse.
It's very similar to how white women reacted to black men in the 1960s. I understand you'd rather be safe than sorry, but don't turn around and make sweeping judgments about all unattractive men.
I do think that, you know, making comparisons to like, well, this is like when, you know, people were racist. I do think that's a little bit silly, but...
I wish men would suffer in silence like we do, because why do I have to keep hearing about it?
What a cruel, rotten thing to say.
Yeah, that actually is fucked up. I wish you would suffer in silence. Now, me personally, I don't want anybody to suffer in silence, or at all. Nobody should have to suffer in silence. I feel like that goes without saying. Gotta admit, an incel openly wanting a dommy mommy is a bit more rare. See, this guy is like honest. Like, he's honest about his intentions. He's honest about what he wants. He's honest about what he believes. He doesn't come across as dishonest or repressed. Like, he knows exactly what he wants. He knows exactly who he is as a person, I think. At least on some level. And, yeah, I don't know. I kind of fuck with him.
Shelby, You want us to suffer? This makes you sound like a malicious sadist who finds joy in the misery of men.
Yeah, that was kind of a crazy statement from Shelby.
And as they say on the 2X chromosome subreddit, to bask in male tears.
Also, 2X chromosome subreddit, that sounds kind of transphobic, I'm not gonna lie. I guarantee you, all those people are fucking TERFs. Like, they just hate the male sex. I can't stand those people. Those are nasty.
How do you feel?
Nasty ass people. Like, you don't need 2X chromosomes to be a woman.
Feel when men take their own lives? Is that something you cheer about? Like many of
Well, probably not. I doubt it. It's just not likely.
your peers in that subreddit? I wonder if you have a brother or male cousin
Is she in that subreddit, though?
that you care about, and if you feel the same way about them.
Most people who make up incel content are caught up on height or looks without ever caring that they make women feel like we are in danger of being SA'd when we are in their presence.
Yeah, I feel like Clavicular is an example of this. Like, yeah, I feel like despite the fact that Clavicular is conventionally attractive, a lot of people would be uncomfortable around him. Why? Because of how he acts. Now, granted, I do think that, you know, to an extent, you know, how you look is going to determine how you're perceived, but it's not the entire thing. How you act is also going to determine that to an extent, right?
Women have made it abundantly clear by their online comments and real-life reactions to men they aren't attracted to that height is the most important thing for men, followed by looks. So
For straight women, I think that might be true.
it's not out of pocket to be hung up on it, as you say. As far as Shelby saying those of us who make inkwell content make women feel like they're going to be SA'd, what does she mean by that? I mean, SA can be as minor as unwanted flirting.
I don't think she's thinking of somebody like you that's a bit more level-headed when she's talking about incels. I think she's being a bit more broad than that. Like, if we're talking about the incel community as a whole, like, you would have to agree that, like, yeah, most of these people fucking suck.
Or as major as a physical attack. And women are known for
Like, a lot, like, it's, like, disproportionately, like, you know, like, weird right-wing freaks that, like, are, like, insanely transphobic.
trying to communicate through hints, which, in case you didn't know, are ableist, because they're nearly impossible for neurodivergent people to pick up on.
Yes and no. I think it's going to be a bit harder if you're neurodivergent, but I'm somebody that's quite literally one of the most autistic people on the face of the earth. I got over this through pattern recognition, as well as I kind of figured out that, like, a good way to handle it is if I'm worried about, you know, saying some really dumb shit or being annoying, I will just straight up tell somebody, you know, in the middle of a conversation, oh yeah, by the way, if I'm like annoying, please tell me to shut up. I'm severely autistic and don't know when to. And if I also if I say some retarded shit, let me know, because I'm not going to know. I'm not going to be able to pick up on any, you know, social cues that would indicate that I said something wrong. Right? I will straight up tell people that I'm just autistic, right? And if they don't like me because I'm autistic, well then, yeah, they're like an ableist piece of shit, right? But that way they know, right? And if they see me as lesser, then, well, they can go fuck themselves.
As far as the risk of physical attack, Shelby, you gotta remember, not all men are the same. Look,
Yes, not all men are the same, but I think it's also worth noting that you don't know which men are going to be the ones that attack you, right? So while it is true that the majority of men aren't going to attack you, there are going to be some proportion that will, and that's what's terrifying. For instance, if you take a look at, you know, people responding that they would rather be in a forest alone with a bear than a man, they're not saying that all men are dangerous and evil and horrible, right? What they're saying is that, you know, they would rather, you know, be in a forest with a bear than risk the potential of being in a forest with a really bad man that can sexually take advantage of them, essentially, right? Because while it is true that most men wouldn't do that, and while it is the case that, you know, they're statistically more likely to survive with the man than the bear, it's also going to be the case that if it turns out to be a bad man, then things get really fucking bad for them, right? And some people don't want to chance that, and that's perfectly reasonable, right?
risk of physical attack, Shelby, you gotta remember, not all men are the same. Look at me. I'm smaller and weaker than most women.
I mean, yeah, but you're not most men, right?
Add to that the fact that I'm only attracted to women who literally tower over me, and it would be literally impossible for me to pose any real physical threat to any woman that I'm
Dude, he's real as fuck for
attracted
this.
to. They could crush me beneath their foot if I so much as disrespect them. And
That's so fucking based. That's so fucking
I'm
based.
completely helpless to their
Dude, I need that too. I also need that.
might. So yeah, not true in my case.
Because men blame women for only going
Nah, he's actually real as fuck for that. He's so base.
For Chads, but then they're over here at 5'7", 50 pounds overweight with receding hairline and latent alcoholism, only hitting up Becky's and Stacy's, doing the exact same thing.
Of course, she has to mention height and baldness, as if that's our fault. Just like loser maxing.
So, okay, I think what she's trying to do here, and maybe she's not doing the best job, is she's not saying that you're worth any less as a person based on those variables. I think she's trying to point out the hypocrisy of, you know, complaining that, you know, women are only going after Chads while these same men in many cases are only going after Stacy's, right? I think that's the sort of hypocrisy she's trying to point out. She's pointing out an inconsistent aspect of a lot of these people's worldview, right? Now, again, that's not going to really apply to you so much, but yeah.
Said, the only things she shamed us for that we have any control over are alcohol.
I interviewed this guy. Wait, you interviewed ChadletMaxxing? Wait, I'd love to see that. Because I actually like this guy. I think, like, he's weirdly likable. Like, even though he's he's got some, like, wrong takes. Like, he's got some wrong beliefs on some stuff. Like, I generally have a positive opinion of him. I'm watching this video because it's the one that I disagree with the most. And I think a lot of, even the things that he says here, it's not, like, extremely unreasonable. I just think he's wrong about some stuff.
Alcoholism and weight.
He's fixable, maybe? No, he definitely is, because here's the thing, is, like, he's really close to understanding a lot of issues, right? It's like he almost fully understands, like, a lot of systemic issues, but he's attributing them too much to things like, you know, looks and height, when in reality, it's ultimately the disparity in class. It's the class struggle that's going to be the most important. And I think once he realizes that all of it has to do with wealth and equality at the end of the day, that's when he's going to realize that a lot of the conclusions that I come to, I think he's going to realize that at least a lot of those are correct, right? I mean, he literally mentioned the connection between height and class earlier, so I think he's already kind of onto it. He's so close to becoming a leftist, he doesn't realize it yet. He just, like, needs, like, a little bit more information, I think, and then I think he would move in that direction. I think I could get him to be a leftist, if anything. And if he's watching this, he probably is, because I'm going to say, hey, by the way, I covered this on stream. Feel free to take a look at it. He might be thinking, well, no, that's not going to work. But he's surprisingly close in his analysis to mine. Like, our analysis of the world is not as far off as you would think, right? And that's what I find fascinating.
I guess since I happen to be a manlet, I should just know my place at the bottom of the hierarchy, right?
I mean, he already talked about things like microaggressions earlier, and not in, like, a disparaging, like, you think that microaggressions are something worth caring about kind of way, but, like, in terms of, like, well, yeah, but, like, microaggressions can also, like, you know, take place against, you know, people on the basis of their height. And I think that that's true. And the fact that he's able to acknowledge things like that, I think makes him, you know, a lot more reasonable than most of these people.
And did you know that,
like, he understands systemic issues on some level. He's willing to analyze them. And I think that most of these people aren't.
height has a great
Like, most of these people just externalize it and say it's individual people's fault, right? Or it's women's fault as a collective, right? But they're not looking at the broader issues.
greater impact on life outcomes like income, happiness, and reproductive success than literally any other demographic characteristic. Baldness and looks also have an impact.
I agree with that.
Not very liberal of you to belittle an entire group of people for an unchangeable characteristic that's proven to be a permanent disadvantage. Just like with AOC's recent incident, heightism and lookism are clearly the last acceptable forms of prejudice on the left.
No. Well, okay, on the left, like, if we're talking about the left, like, actual leftism, yes. But classism, if we're talking about just, like, you know, like, people that are liberal, I don't know if he's using the left to talk about people like me that are, like, you know, actual leftists that are in favor of things like socialism, or if he's using it to describe, you know, anybody that's left of center, which is how most people use it. If he's using it the way that most people use it, then the answer would be no. They disparage people on the basis of class. They just don't do it as blatantly or aggressively as right-wingers. but they still defend corporate interests. They still defend capitalism. They still defend the very things that cause us to be oppressed.
And the elites want to keep it that way. As far as unattractive men only approaching attractive women, that is far from true. Most of us are too intimidated by attractive women.
I think this guy could find a woman who would love a guy like him if he went to a munch and didn't act like a creep. I don't think this guy would act creepy. He doesn't give off creepy at all. He just gives off like extremely submissive and readable. Like that's the vibes I'm getting from him, which he is. So I'm not, I'm not surprised. Like I'm gonna be real. When I first saw this guy's content, I was like, this guy is definitely a bottom. And then when he straight up said like, yeah, I want like a big strong woman to dominate me, I'm like, that tracks, but I did not expect him to be so honest about it.
For fear she might have a similar attitude to you. Myself, I could care less how attractive a woman's face is, as long as she's fit and over 5'11". I just need to feel small and vulnerable.
Men are actually not lonely enough. Men will get
Honestly, that's real as fuck.
angry that we have boundaries and standards in our 30s and say we are delusional from learning from our past and the past of our fellow women. And they say that how dare we reject them when we are in our 30s? How dare we reject them if we are sub 5 or whatever?
Yeah, there's like a lot of incel men that are like that. And yeah, those people are terrifying.
Whatever that means is because we don't feel safe around
Damn, I'm an inch too short for him. Yeah.
you for a good reason.
Men aren't lonely enough, eh? Sounds like more sadism if you ask me.
Wait, hold on. I don't think she said that. Wait, look, let's go back. Maybe I missed something.
5 or whatever that means is because we don't feel safe around you for a good reason.
Yeah, I mean, she's specifically talking about the types of people that get rejected and don't take it well, right? That's what she's talking about in this case. She's not saying that men need to suffer more or be more lonely.
Men aren't lonely enough, eh? Sounds like more sadism if you ask me.
I don't think she's saying this from a sadistic standpoint. I think she's saying it from a self-preservation one.
You sure you haven't been narcissism-maxing, Shelby?
I don't think she's a narcissist for this. I think that, like, yeah, some of the shit she's saying is wrong, but I wouldn't label her a narcissist for it. I think that, like, at the end of the day, like, this is just two people talking past each other. And what I mean by that is, on one hand, you have somebody that understands women's issues and not men's issues. On the other hand, you have someone that understands men's issues and not women's issues. And over here, you have me who understands both because I've lived as both. So, yeah, it's like kind of interesting to watch the disconnect. I don't know. Maybe I could bridge the gap. Maybe I could like host a conversation with like both of these people and just like have them talk to each other and be like, well, hold on. It seems like this person is trying to say this, right? Interject a little bit. See if they could, actually communicate.
Detecting some strong dark triad energy from you here so far.
No, I don't think so.
You probably do well with a guy who has borderline personality disorder. Unfortunately, the patriarchy mostly diagnoses women with that one, so he'll be tough to find. To be fair, Shelby, you don't seem to be rejecting men for the same reasons as other 30-something women we view as delusional. Your reason seems to be based in some serious trauma and fear, which I hope you can overcome. These delusional women we speak of reject men because they're waiting for that 1% man who's 6'6" and makes $250K per year.
To be fair, that sounds like your type in women, which I'm not faulting you for, but like, you can't get mad at them for wanting that when it's like you want the same thing in a woman, right? Like you have a height requirement for women. So that's not really delusional, right? It's just like some people have preferences. Now, granted, people that meet those preferences don't owe you anything regardless of gender, right? And I think he would understand that, but I do think there's a little bit of double standard here. Bro has a point. I think he does make some good arguments.
And until they find the guy, they just order delivery of top 10% chads from their dating apps who they can never get to commit. Meanwhile, this small group of elite men are cycling through and sharing all the women in town, just using them for gratification and ego building.
But I think that goes both ways. I think that women do the same thing. I think that men and women are... Here's a hot take. I think that men and women are equally hypergamous. Okay? That's my take. I think that regardless of gender, a lot of people are going to go for whatever they perceive to be the best or granting them the highest social status, you name it.
You're not doing that, right, Shelby? If you overcame your trauma and fear, is that how you would live your life? As far as men making women feel unsafe goes, If women only wanted guys they felt safe around, then wouldn't they prefer to date short men?
No. So the reason for this is because whether or not you feel safe around somebody is also going to be contingent upon whether or not you trust them, right? So if there's like a big, strong, tall guy that's 6'6", and he could easily fucking kill me, you know, with his bare fists, but he's like, you know, very sweet and, you know, gentle, and he wouldn't hurt a fly, then I'm not going to feel unsafe around him. In fact, if anything, I would actually feel protected by him, because if some other guy tried to attack me for, say, for instance, being trans, you know, that's something that I have to worry about, right? Because I don't really think that I pass. And if I'm out in public, even if I'm in a, you know, relatively safe area, you know, I don't know, you know, what people's views are on trans people if I've never talked to them. And if they see me, you know, like somebody that's, you know, very androgynous, I don't know if they're going to attack me, or, you know, try to assault me. And I would feel more safe if there was like, you know, essentially a 6'6" bodyguard next to me, right? Where it's like, yeah, they're going to be a lot less likely to attack me. And if they do, then I have somebody to defend me that's going to be stronger than them. Does that make sense? I think that part of why they would be perceived as scary is also going to depend on whether or not they're a stranger. Like, do you know them? That's also going to be part of the perceived danger.
But the reality is they want
Less than 1% of men would harm women. Yes, but you don't know who the 1% is just by looking at somebody. You don't know who that 1% is. So if you're walking down the street and it's nighttime and you're alone as a woman and there's some guy, 99 out of 100 times you'll be fine. But what if it's that 1 out of 100 times? And that's why you got to be careful, is because of that 1 out of 100 times. That's why it's terrifying. That's why it's terrifying. Taller men tend to be less violent, TBH. I don't think that's true. There doesn't seem to be evidence to suggest that.
want the biggest man who
I don't think that height determines likelihood of violence.
makes them feel safe from other men.
And women want a life that is anything but the one that our grandmothers had, while men want the one that their grandfathers had.
Don't put yourself in dangerous situations. Yeah, no shit. But I'm explaining why it would be dangerous in the first place. I'm explaining why women are scared of men, right? Because while it is true that, like, yes, obviously most men are going to be good, we don't know which ones are the good ones until we talk to them, until we get to know them a bit better. And even then, we don't know for sure, right?
They literally romanticize our oppression, because tell me why that most women do not want the life that our grandmothers had. We do not want to have 6 kids and get married at 18 because we
Yeah, that sounds fucking awful.
have no other choice.
We all want the life our grandparents had, Shelby.
Okay, this is a retarded take. No, we fucking don't. Especially not women or anyone that's gender non-conforming. Are you kidding me? That shit's miserable. Even you wouldn't want that. Because if you were in that situation, you would have to be the breadwinner. You'd have to be the masculine figure in the household and in the relationship. You couldn't be, you know, the household husband with, you know, the big, strong, rich mommy-dommy of your dreams.
Come on now. These are boomers we're talking about. They had every opportunity building their lives at the peak of American prosperity. I get what you mean about not wanting to be shoehorned into being a housewife when you want to do more with your life. I get it. Personally, I think being a housewife or house husband could be a great opportunity to get a free living arrangement while having...
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to be a house husband if you had the life of your grandparents now, would you? That's the point that she's making, right? The problem isn't being a housewife or house husband. The problem is if you're not given a choice. The problem is the lack of options. So I don't know why he would argue against this.
Plenty of spare time to start your own business. But if you'd rather be fully independent, I understand.
Okay, all right, fair. I'm not sure why he was responding to that then, if he agrees. I'm just baffled that he didn't think of trying to meet people through the BDSM community. I think he has thought of that. I think that the issue that he has is like, from what I understand, from what he's explained, is like, you know, it's like a lot harder if you're just like a straight man, because it's going to be mostly queer people. And I'm guessing he doesn't really get that sense of belonging that you and I would, you know, because in that case, he's kind of the odd one out, right?
And lastly, I'm involuntarily celibate myself.
He wants to be a house husband. It is so clear. He is adorable. I agree he's adorable. I agree. I think I'm going to help him get laid. I swear to God. That's one of the reasons I wanted to, like, you know, talk to him as well, is because, like, he's not bad looking at all. Like he's fairly cute. Somebody would definitely want him to be their house husband. There is a tall woman out there that wants him, okay?
I grew up with my grandparents, and I don't want the same family dynamic we had. I want to be the smaller, more submissive one.
Okay, based.
And as soon as women started to have the option to not choose men, this is when men started to roll back.
I would help him too. Yeah, because he's a nice guy. He's not ugly or anything. I think the issue is he doesn't know where to look. I think he just struggles because he has no idea where to look for that type of person. Right? I think he said he was 29. He looks younger than he is. I would have guessed like mid-20s. He's 29 apparently. So that probably also makes it a little bit more difficult, but yeah. Yeah, I'm rooting for him too.
Our rights.
Roll back off.
Some of the stuff he says is just, yeah, sometimes he'll say some schizo shit, but it's like, he says schizo shit, but it's like, you still gotta love him, right? You still gotta respect it a little bit. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this dude. He just doesn't know where to look, I think. I also think that if he were to present a bit more femininely, and I've seen him, I think he posted like a video where he showed pictures of him like wearing like cat ears and more feminine clothing. I think if he did that while like being clean shaven, you know, getting rid of the body hair, because I think he was wearing a crop top in that. I think he could pull. I genuinely think he could pull, especially if he dressed more androgynously. Like if he became more androgynous, he would definitely pull. He said that like he already like mostly attracts bisexual women, right? And it's usually exclusively bisexual women that are into him. I think it'd be even easier if he was if he like decided to be more of like a femboy. Though, you know, I'm not sure if he would want to do that or not. But I have suggested it to him.
Our rights. First of all, Shelby, I care about your rights. I can't speak for all men, but I play no part in any attempt by governments to revoke your rights. Not all lonely men want that to happen.
That's true.
We have no power over Supreme Court rulings or the actions of other states. We aren't all radical religious zealots. We're a diverse group of people. I'm agnostic personally. If anything, women baby trap men and refuse to get abortions when they probably should.
Okay, babe.
I don't want children to be born into bad situations.
I agree with him on this.
The truth is, only the top 20% of male animals reproduce, and that's a fact. Yet men blame us instead of accepting their fate. Women choosing not to have children is the next step in human evolution.
Yeah, I think she is right about the fact that, like, yeah, a lot of times incels will blame women for their problems. It's like, at the end of the day, it's not women's fault if they're not attracted to you, right? And that's kind of a tough pill to swallow, but, like, yeah, like, you can't make yourself attracted to someone. Like, the same way that, like, if you're one of the incel guys, like, you can't make yourself attracted to, like, you know, some, like, obese woman if you're not into obese women, right? Like, a lot of these guys would not date somebody if they're obese. They're just, like, not physically attractive to them. They can't make themselves physically attracted, right? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
We are weeding out the violent men with no...
Yes, it does suck. But yes, it's important to note, like Rat Queen in chat says, it does suck, but also being ugly isn't a moral failing. Yes, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is because we live in a patriarchal society that sort of, you know, cares way too much about this. Because we live in a society where it is seen as like some sort of personal failing or wrongdoing, where status is attached to it, where, you know, if you're not able to get bitches, like that, you're seen as lesser, right? You're seen as lesser than as a result of that, when it can be caused by variables that are completely outside of your control, right?
Emotional intelligence.
I'm confused here, Shelby. I believe you about only the top 20% of male mammals mating, but then you say that women are weeding out violence and lack of emotional intelligence.
Yeah, I don't think that that's the reason why. I don't think that, well, maybe unintentionally to an extent, but I don't think that, like, I don't think that there's a violence gene though. I think that violence is also going to in part be determined by, you know, your socioeconomic status. Like, what did you grow up with? Right? Like, it's going to be determined by other variables, right? You might end up being a more violent person as like a self-preservation sort of strategy, right? where it's like you had to grow up being violent. It was like either kill or be killed type of shit. Right? There are instances where that's the case. Right? Now, obviously, that's something to overcome if you're in that situation, but it's going to be a lot harder. Right?
If we're comparing this to reproductive Darwinism,
but again, a lot of that is also going to have to do with how society operates, right? And that's going to be on the basis of class struggle, right? That's going to be another example of wealth inequality being the sort of causal root for this.
and animals, I don't think any of them give a shit about which male was passive or emotionally intelligent. Quite the opposite, actually. They select for physical power, which leads to domination, which is inherently violent. I don't...
No, being physically strong is not inherently violent, because you can choose to use that strength for non-violent purposes. So I disagree with...
I think this next step in human evolution is working at all so far.
Society has been patriarchal since the beginning of time. Men and women are interchangeable. Yeah, except they are interchangeable at this point, or at least they should be, right? They should be interchangeable because there's no reason for them not to be. Like, why should we be forced into these two arbitrarily defined categories that benefit nobody? Like, we're not hunter-gatherers anymore. It made sense. Patriarchy made sense when we were hunters and gatherers. It made sense for the woman to stay at home while, you know, taking care of the kids and being pregnant and shit. What are you gonna do? Fucking hunt while you have this fucking, you know, big baby in your fucking womb? Yeah, of course not. Right? It would make sense for, therefore, the men to, you know, go out and hunt and provide. But we don't live in that era anymore. We're not hunters and gatherers anymore. You know, if you, you know, when you provide for the family, you go get a job in an office. There's nothing about being male that makes that easier or harder. Right?
And personally, I don't really want a woman to carry my child unless she's at least like 6'4", and even then I'll encourage her to get a donor.
I think if she's 6'4", wouldn't it balance out? Wouldn't they end up being like normal height? Because you're 5'3", if she's 6'4", it's gonna counterbalance, right? And they're gonna be about average height, I think.
I don't want my kids to have to suffer with being disadvantaged by their height. Only if we have the time.
I think that's reasonable, but I think if she's 6'4", I think that like she's gonna be like she's gonna have even more of like her genes are gonna have more of an influence on their height than yours, simply because like she has like an even, you know, greater difference between her height and the average woman's height, right? Because like, isn't the average man height like 5'8", 5'9"? I think it's like 5'9" or something, right? Or is it 5'8"? I think it's like 5'9" in the US and 5'8" globally, or some shit like that. Let's say it's 5'9". Okay, so you'd be half a foot shorter than that, right? A 6'4" woman, the average woman, I think globally, is 4'4", or sorry, not 4'4", 5'4". Fuck, 4'4" would be crazy. Sorry, 5'4" or 5'5". Let's say 5'5". That's still going to be almost a foot taller than the average. So you're actually closer to the average male height than she would be to the average female height. So if anything, your kids would still be pretty tall, right?
And money to raise them right, and mommy Dommy demands that her babies have my face.
Men really
So based. I'm sorry, this guy is so
really
based.
think that because they are happy, we are happy. They really have no idea that how much they drain us affects our mental health and makes us want to opt out of marriage altogether.
Now you know how men have felt for the last few decades. Marriage is a total mess for men, and the problem's only gotten worse
I think it's a mess for everyone.
with time. The only positive thing are the tax benefits, and these only benefit the privileged class of beautiful couples who are happy together because they're both highly attractive. It's not fair to single
I don't think you have to be highly attractive to be happy with each other. I think you can just be like kind of average looking and make it work.
people. Even living together can be risky due to
Average male height is 5'10". Average man in US is 5'9". Okay, yeah, that sounds right. So the global height would be like 5'8".
common law marriages in some states. Courts are notoriously hard on men in divorce court and partial to women. It's a trap. So no, not
I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that,
all
so I can't really comment. I don't know if he's right about that or
of us
not.
want to get married.
They go to the gym for 1 hour and then come home and watch the undertape for the next 6 hours.
Oh my god, Andrew Tate? His true name is forbidden on TikTok, Myself and most of my viewers aren't fans of grifters who exploit our false hopes of ascension or easy success in life or with women.
Well, I don't think that Andrew Tate sells, you know, looks maxing ascension tips, because he's like sub 3. Like, he's really fucking ugly. He looks disgusting. Like, his face is actually deformed.
Or pickup artists who profit off selling us the lie that they somehow hold
Andrew Tate has rat phrenology.
the secret to being
Like, he actually needs surgery for his face, like, desperately.
irresistible, and that it's our fault if it doesn't work. Especially some privileged tall rich guy and his even taller Chad, especially when it's some privileged tall rich guy and his even taller Chad brother. Red pill guys are usually genetically gifted. They couldn't possibly understand our plight.
Well, I wouldn't say Andrew Tate is not genetically gifted. Aside from, like, is he tall? Maybe is in the height department. I would say that the main thing that sets him apart is the wealth that he was born into. He was gifted in terms of wealth. That's the main determining factor. If he wasn't born into wealth, or was he born into wealth? Either way, how did Andrew Tate determine, or how did Andrew Tate get his wealth? I assume he was born into it. Maybe he wasn't. Where did Andrew Tate? I mean, it also came from sex trafficking. So, yeah, where did he get money? Was it his parents? Oh, it's like also his like online courses and like, okay, so it started out with this like shady webcam business where he sex trafficked people. And then he earned millions through that. Okay, so he became, I'm guessing he became rich then. It doesn't say anything about his family. But either way, like if he was, you know, broke, no one would give a fuck about him. Like no one would care. You'd just be like some like below average looking dude. And just made money from MMA fighting and using it as, well, he was not intelligent. He was just like a very immoral person. He just like didn't give a fuck that he was like, you know, doing some of the most unethical shit ever. Like, you know, sex trafficking women for money. Yeah, that was the thing he did.
To be honest, it seems like you don't know the difference between the capsule that's red and the capsule that's black.
They will literally bash us for having.
That's true. I'm way more sympathetic to the black pill than the red pill. I think that any red pillar is going to be fucking retarded. I think that some black pillars are either redeemable or already redeemed. I think that some of them are fine.
Friends and being goal-oriented because they are aimless and all alone.
Again, it hurts to know that you would assume that I bash women for being goal-oriented just because I'm a guy when you don't even know me. Not every chronically single manlet is intimidated by ambitious women. I mean, I am definitely intimidated, but in a masochistic sort of way. I enjoy feeling intimidated by tall women with physical and socioeconomic power. I know this is probably an unpopular opinion with my audience, but I find the idea of a girl boss very hot.
Hell yeah.
It's always two.
Hey, I'm part of your audience, and I agree.
Who find the audacity to make you feel completely unsafe.
I don't think it's a coincidence that she emphasizes twos being the ones who mainly make her feel unsafe. And I don't believe that unattractive men are more...
Well, hold on, let's see. Wait, sorry, I was zoning out.
Completely unsafe.
hot.
It's always twos who find the audacity to make you feel completely unsafe.
Okay. Yeah, this is where I gotta disagree with her. I think that like, and this is coming from somebody that's not usually very attracted to men. I think that regardless of looks, they have a very strong ability to make me feel unsafe. Now, part of that is going to be because I'm trans, so like I'm at much greater risk than the average person by a lot. It's like I don't like, you know, regardless of what his face card looks like, that's not going to determine the likelihood of him fucking hate criming me. You know, now maybe if you're a straight woman, you know, attraction to someone might sort of make up for the fact that you're terrified of them. And you might be like, well, I'm terrified of them, but like they're hot, so like, you know, I don't care. But by default, I'm terrified. And I think a lot of people are the same way.
I don't think it's a coincidence that she emphasizes twos being the ones who mainly make her feel unsafe. And I don't believe that unattractive men are more likely to attack women either.
I agree with that.
This is lookism through and through.
No, I agree with them 100%.
It's rooted in understandable fear, but it's not grounded in reality.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, like in terms of like who's gonna cause the most harm, I don't think it's gonna be, you know, 2 out of 10 men. I don't think they're any more or less likely to commit acts of violence, right?
If you always feel unsafe around men you don't find attractive, then we can't control how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, I feel unsafe around men in general. Like if I'm, you know, by myself and like there's like a man that's like also there and it's like that I don't know. Like yeah, that sounds pretty terrifying.
Sounds like a you problem.
We would kindly appreciate.
And then it's like if they assault me and then they find out I'm trans, inevitably from doing so, like let's say they don't know I'm trans and then they find out, it's like, do I get fucking killed? Like,
Appreciate it if no man approached us ever again, because men don't just want women, they want control over us.
I'll have you know, Shelby, there are a large percentage of lonely men like me who are submissive, and I'm one of them.
hell yeah. No, I gotta support this. I can't help it. I gotta support this. This is
We don't all
base.
want to be in control of you. You say you'd appreciate it if no man ever approached women again. Well, wish granted. And now we would all appreciate if you never complained about being lonely ever again. Maybe just specify that you're asexual and only lonely for friendship. By the way, I haven't approached a woman in years out of fear of encountering someone like you. So,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like, okay, here's the way to go about it. If you're like, if you're like submissive and breedable and you're asking out a dominant woman, okay, you genuinely do not need to have that much riz. Like you don't, like you can get away with anti-riz. I know I do. You know, I wouldn't say I'm like, you know, extremely like ugly and deformed or anything, but I'm not like particularly attractive either. I'd say I'm, you know, for a woman, probably below average. But like, you know, I guess to put it simply, I have anti-riz because when I flirt with a dominant woman, I get all, you know, flustered and embarrassed and, you know, I get all red and I kind of make a fool of myself, but for whatever reason, it works anyway. And for whatever reason, they like me if I do that. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why they find that endearing, but they do. And I don't know. I don't think that's halo effect because, you know, I'm not noticeably attractive. So I think it's literally just, you know, dominant women just like that for some reason. You know, it's like I'll flirt and I'll fail miserably at doing so, and then they like me back for some reason. And then yeah, and then they start teasing me, and then I get even more flustered and like oh yeah, you are super fun to tease. Yeah, that's the thing. No more brainworms. You got that cute nerdy Riz, that's also Riz type shit. That's the thing is like, in a way, my anti-Riz serves as a form of Riz. You don't have to be particularly confident or good at talking to people. You can just do what I do and just be like kind of awkward, which acts as Riz in its own right for some reason. Aw, she's turning red. Okay, shut up. Well, okay, look. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, Rism with the tism. I like shy girls.
well, congrats. And to other women who want to be approached, women like this are the reason you never get approached. And
Oop, I forgot.
And one day, civilization will start to collapse due to declining birth rates, and the
Okay, I don't believe that.
economy will contract and spiral, and you won't have enough customers
Okay, so you're going to be in favor of immigration then, right? Because you don't want the economy to get fucked?
to buy your art anymore.
You are too cute when you get flustered, Kai. Okay, no, nuh-uh.
As a low-achieving loser myself, I am perfectly fine with both male and female losers never reproducing and being eliminated from the gene pool entirely. I'm okay with the fact that I have not been picked. I'm okay with the fact that I probably am not viable for reproduction. I've come to terms with this, and I think...
Yeah, me too, honestly. Like, I would not want anyone to, you know, deal with the shit that I do. You know, I don't want to pass on my mental illness. I don't want to pass on anything, really. Like, I think that I'm genetically fucked. It's not as bad as it used to be, but that's just because, you know, I transitioned and I also don't have acne anymore because I did Accutane. My acne was really bad.
The men that are like me need to do the same
We're a person named Kai at Trax. Yeah.
thing and stop blaming other people.
Immigrants won't contribute to the economy, though. Well, that's just like not true because like they need money to survive, so they work jobs. and then they, buy housing or apartments, right? They rent apartments. That they do all of these things. They are consumers and workers. So they quite literally contribute to the economy in every way possible. Femi absolutely mogging me. Well, that's just not true.
It's starting to sound like because of your low self-esteem, you've branded yourself as being a romantic reject. As always...
Oh, really? Accutane? You have such smooth skin. That's because I did Accutane. And because I'm on HRT.
Stop painting all men under one broad stroke. I'm perfectly fine not reproducing. It would be nice to find a romantic partner, of course, but having kids isn't a requirement. In fact, I think it's for the best that genetically disadvantaged people avoid creating another cycle of suffering by passing on
I kind of agree with
those
this.
disadvantages. But if we're being honest, we both know
Like, that's one of the reasons I don't want to reproduce.
that you've got plenty of male orbiters who are all romantic options for you. You complain about not being chosen while rejecting men left and right. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, but like, wouldn't you also reject women left and right? Like, if you're not attracted to them, like, you literally have a height requirement. They need to be 5'11" or taller. So, like, you do the same thing.
You think you're too good for them and can only accept the ideal male. You'd probably reject Prince Charming if he was under 5'9". I think you're upset.
Yeah, but like, so would you. You would reject the female version of that if they were below that height. So, you're not one to talk.
Because one of the many orbiters you've rejected called you out for your hypocrisy. Or maybe he just moved on and you're jonesing for the attention. Personally, I'd be a hypocrite if I judged you for holding out. I mean, I'd date you if you were 5'11" or taller, but I refuse to date any woman shorter than that, so...
Okay, so he acknowledges this. Okay, he's not unself-aware.
So it's not like I'm much different than you.
I pause Andy.
That said, a commenter, Shredded Sub 5, had a unique insight I'd like to share. Another femcel with an army of orbiters. DMs looking like mine when I give away a free car on eBay, and 500 reasons why none of the men that want her are actually viable options because they're not Chad.
Look, if it's the case that it's like a bunch of like men she's not attracted to, then like it's reasonable. Here, let's see this. Let's read the entire comment. Another femcel with an army of orbiters. DMs looking like mine when I give away a free car on eBay, and 500 reasons why none of the men that want her are actually viable options because they are not Chad. It could just be that she's like not attracted to them. She talks about the dangers of rejecting a man versus the dangers of rejecting a woman. This says it all. This femcel had to reject dozens of men. Yeah? You can't control who you're attracted to. You can't make yourself attracted to people that you're not. This goes in both directions. So the same reason that, ChadletMaxxing can't make himself attracted to women that are below 5'11", right? The femcel cannot make herself attracted to men that she's not attracted to. The very concept is completely unknown to a lonely man. Maybe. I have not ever had to reject a woman because no woman ever approaches me. Surreal. Even more surreal is that I also think that like the notion that like as a guy you have to approach women and not the other way around is like really fucking stupid. And again, that's going to be based on patriarchy of, oh, men are the ones that need to pursue and the women are objects to be pursued, right? And that's just sort of how society operates, right? Even more surreal is that 100% of domestic violence and abuse happens in relationships. 100% of cheating happens in relationships. The only group of men with a clean slate are adult virgins, loners, and I don't know what that says, it's crossed off. And yet they get demonized for looking the part. Remember, guys, being lonely equals creepy. Being ugly equals creepy. Good looks equals confidence. Okay, I sort of agree with like, yeah, people do perceive good looks as confidence in many cases. Like people do sort of conflate the two where it's like, if somebody is confident and they look good, they'll be perceived as confident and attractive. Whereas if it, like an ugly person does it, like they'll be perceived as arrogant. Right? That is a thing. But yeah, I will say that like clean slate, I don't think the clean slate really matters. Like I don't think that like, now obviously if you're like an abuser that's like abused people, then like that's gonna be bad. But like somebody with a clean slate could become an abuser. Like there's nothing that would stop them. So I don't think it's fair to be like, well, you've never had sex before, therefore, you must be safe. right? Or you've had sex before, therefore you're unsafe. That seems a bit unfair.
Sub 5 had a unique insight I'd like to share. Another femcel with an army of orbiters. DMs looking like mine when I give away a free car on eBay.
Yeah, we already heard this.
You gotta wonder what sparked off her decision to make this video. But my theory is that she couldn't handle the hit to her ego of a disgruntled sub 5 orbiter calling her out on her hypocrisy. So she broke down and wrote this 6,000 word manifesto
I'm not sure what her hypocrisy was.
as a way to avoid facing the fact that he was right, and she is a hypocrite. I guarantee you, she wouldn't be willing to date a guy under 6 foot, and would probably cheat on a 6 foot guy if she found a guy who was taller.
Well, okay, you have no reason to believe either of those things, but let's say that the first one is true. Again, that's not a criticism because you also have height requirements for women. So, what gives?
I've been subscribed to Shelby and occasionally watching her videos for like 8 months now, but I stopped watching her as much in the last couple months. I honestly never expected she would spout such thoughtless drivel. She seemed relatable for a long time, but recently she has started to irritate me a bit because her channel, it's been thriving since day one. She makes good money selling her art and getting donations plus ad revenue. She doesn't even realize how much better her life is than most of us. She acts like it's so horrible. But she's lucky as fuck and more successful than I am.
But that doesn't mean that she's happy though. Like you can be successful and unhappy. And like didn't you say she still lives with her parents in her 30s? Like yeah, you're probably not gonna be happy if that's you. Size requirement is not even high. Like this isn't a high standard. He said women that are 5'11" or taller. For women, it's a lot less common to be that height, right? It's less common for a woman to be 5'11" than it is for a guy to be 6 foot, right?
She doesn't even recognize how privileged she is.
No, this guy's not AI.
And that if she were male,
why would he be AI?
her channel probably never would have taken off like it did. She doesn't have that much to complain about as far as being a loser goes. I can only hope to be that successful at 32. It feels like her whole down on my luck loser act is no longer attuned to reality. Her life no longer sucks, and she's creating problems that don't exist.
Well, I disagree. Like, I think that your life can still suck even if you have some amount of success. I mean, like, I've talked to this guy in private and he has like he's talked about, yeah, he like, I think he runs businesses. Like he runs like a couple small businesses. So it's not like this guy's a loser either,
It's all just a performance at this point. One that helps attract attention and donations from a mostly lonely male audience. Kind of exploitative, isn't it? But Shelby probably
I don't agree with that. I don't think it's exploitative. I think that like if people choose to donate, there's no reason that they shouldn't, right?
likes the idea of taking revenge on men. It makes sense why her
I don't think that that's a revenge thing though. You're pretty. Thank you, Lexi.
audience turned on her so much after this. I mean, there were far more men watching her than women. Very few women can relate to most of her problems. So her decision to alienate lonely men was definitely an interesting public relations decision. Now, I realize that she's mentally ill, so it's bad to dogpile on her, even if she is a total hypocrite. However, I'm also mentally ill, so that makes it okay.
Honestly, real. I'm also mentally ill, for the record.
So if a man is like failing at something, he always blames someone else. Typically, not every single time, but there is a huge lack of accountability when it comes to men.
Oh, so
If AI was pushing incel sympathy pieces, there'd be more fear-mongering. Look, here's the thing is, like, I don't think that this guy is, like, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's just, like, wrong about some stuff. Like, I wouldn't call him an incel in the traditional sense. Like, I wouldn't call him an incel mainly because, even though he calls himself one, I wouldn't call him that, aside from, like, maybe in the title. But I don't really think he's, like, a true incel in terms of how the word is actually used, because, he's not misogynistic, at least not for the most part. Like, he's not, like, anti-woman. He's not, like, viewing women as sex objects. He's not weird about it. I don't know. He's just, like, not weird about it.
I guess women are somehow perfect angels? It's considered a
I woke up and started scrolling. Here I am. IDK. I'm going to say that 20 to 30-year-olds sound extremely smart or good with words. Yeah, I'm 21. This guy needs to get pegged. Yeah, he absolutely does, and he would love every second of it.
emotional abuse to paint yourself as perfect while profiling men as villains before we can even prove ourselves. I don't know about you guys, but it's fucking frightening to me to think that people this disconnected from reality are voting in our elections. My lord.
I mean, yeah, considering the fact that there are people that, believe that that the election was stolen in 2020 and that they're putting fucking microchips in vaccines and shit like that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe there shouldn't be, the right to vote for everyone. Maybe we need to bring back literacy tests, but for conservatives. I think, maybe that'd be kind of based, except it wouldn't be because, then it would inadvertently be classist. Yeah. Though temporarily it would be a net positive. In the long run, it would be bad.
Shelby, I'll say to you what I say to the red pillars. Not everyone who fails at something is at fault. Men
I agree.
aren't superhumans who can do anything we set our minds to.
I agree.
There are factors outside our control, and it's not right to invalidate us and expect us to always blame ourselves.
And let's be honest, the new abortion laws have de-incentivized dating as a woman in a real way.
I don't know what state you're in, Shelby, but if that's true, I sympathize. I understand where you're coming from with that, since you're in no position to mother a child. Hot take, but I think women should have easy access to such services, more for the sake of improving the quality of life for children who are born than anything else rooted in feminism.
Yeah, no, well, I agree with that, and it's also going to be the case that my view is grounded in philosophy. It's not even grounded as much in politics as it is in, just the simple fact that, like, if we're talking about, a pregnancy within the first, I think it's 24 to 26 weeks, or is it 26 to 28? I'll just say 26. I think it's 24 to 26 weeks. It is scientifically proven to be the case that the fetus does not experience any form of sentience or consciousness, and therefore it doesn't warrant moral consideration. So for the same reason, it's not immoral to kill a brain dead human, even though it's the case that it's alive, right? It's brain dead, it doesn't have any experiences and never will have experiences, right? It's gonna be the case that it's okay to kill a fetus. Oh, but like it has the potential to become, a person with experiences. It's like, yeah, so does a jar of semen. That doesn't mean anything, right?
I mainly care about the well-being of those who are brought into this world without consent. So hopefully you're saving some money now for an interstate road trip, or maybe just getting ready to move.
Why do conservative men go out of their way to pursue liberal women instead of just going for conservative women?
First of
Wait, hold on.
Men go out of their way to pursue liberal women.
Maybe just getting ready to move.
Why do conservative men go out of their way to pursue liberal women instead of just going for conservative women?
I don't know, but like, I don't view that as the end of the world. I think that like if you are a conservative man, you want to go after a liberal woman, right? You like her despite the fact that you disagree with her politics. That probably just means that you don't hold that strong of views. And if I'm the woman in that scenario, I'm just gonna be like, well, maybe I could fix them.
First of all, not every conservative man looks like the extreme Christian pro-Israel moralist you see on Fox News.
The majority do.
There are way more moderates than you realize. But the woke extremists all throw us into the same bin with full...
Okay, but like, what does the woke extremism entail? Like, who are the woke extremists and what do they do exactly? Right? Because I think woke extremists, as you say, people like me that are, considered, far left, are going to be a lot more sympathetic to you than, most far right people, right? Like somebody like me is going to be, I'm more sympathetic to this guy than most liberals, I think.
Full supporters of the right-wing agenda. And second, I truly...
Right, but if you're voting for far-right politicians like Donald Trump, then you're obviously going to be contributing to negative outcomes. For instance, it's going to be the case that, as a trans person, my life is made worse. A lot of trans people I know don't have access to hormone replacement therapy anymore because they live in a red state, right? They can't get access to HRT. And that's because of shit that the Trump admin has done, right? That is the fault of right-wing politicians that are targeting us for simply existing.
Truly wish I could find a woman who shares my values. Not even conservative necessarily, just moderate centrist with views on both sides of the spectrum.
See, I don't even think this guy is really conservative. He might think of himself that way, but like, based on a lot of the way he analyzes stuff, I don't think that he's truly conservative. I think the way he views it is, he's socially accepted disproportionately by people that are like a little bit more conservative, just on the basis of, being like an incel man or whatever. But at the end of the day, like in terms of his actual beliefs, and like, yeah, he believes some wrong shit. I would classify him as like probably true libertarian. I don't really think that he leans to the right or the left. I think he's just true libertarian neutral.
But here along the NorCal coast, any female who isn't an extreme radical
Yeah, he's like insanely normal. His life is just shit. Yeah, exactly.
leftist Antifa 10th wave feminist SJW is few and far between.
If men wanted a woman that was aligned with their values, that's what they would do. They would choose a woman that's already aligned with their values, but they like the idea of taming the liberal woman.
I'm guessing you live in asswipe Alabama, because out here on the trendy West Coast, conservative women are unicorns. Maybe 1 in 50 on Bumble say conservative. Maybe 8 say moderate. Like 90% of them say they won't date a guy without the Bill Gates injection.
You mean the COVID vaccine? So this is the one take that he has where it's like, yeah, this shit's retarded. Like, dude, just fuck. Like, modern medicine isn't gonna fucking kill you. It's not gonna give you autism. Okay. I think that'd be like the one issue that'd be like the most difficult to convince him on. Because like in terms of like the way he views things philosophically, I think that he's like wrong on a lot of shit, but he gets kind of close to when he thinks of like a lot of the more abstract concepts. When it comes to some of the more tangible stuff, like, you know, that's like, you know, scientifically proven, it's like he doesn't seem to be as good on that.
And all the conservative girls are gorgeous. I don't stand a chance with them.
But they're not. I think that conservative women are uglier on average.
I don't know how it is in other states, but it is brutal here in Cali. Trust me, I don't have the time or energy to care about taming anyone.
If it was about life, SNAP benefits would not be getting cut, and they would still offer abortions. They still offer abortions for disabled babies, because this is not about saving lives of every baby. It's about forcing able-bodied workers into existence so that they can work for the elites.
Again,
yo, truth nuke.
I'm sorry you're stuck in Alabama. I hate California, but I'd rather be here than there. But overall, I fuck with what you're saying here. I talk about that all the time in my content. The elites want to bring as many weak, sickly, disadvantaged children into the world as possible so they can build a helpless, dependent population of submissive serfs to exploit with ease. It's not—
To an extent, yeah. Though I don't think that they're looking for people to be physically weak. I don't think that that's something they want. I don't think that, like, if we're talking about, you know, the wealth disparity, being physically strong isn't going to, like, decrease the wealth gap. Right? It doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, wealth inequality is the greatest form of inequality.
not a life worth living.
The loneliness epidemic is natural selection.
I would
Yes, but it's not good.
agree with you on that, Shelby, but there's one problem. There's nothing natural about the presence of dating or hookup apps and social media enabling women to advertise themselves and collect
Yeah, but I think that dating apps make it way easier to find people. Do they not? Like, at least for me, they do.
orbiters like My Little Pony figurines, all while overexposing and desensitizing women
I mean, hell, even when I was presenting as a guy, dating apps made my life, you know, a bit better because, like, it's like, yeah, you just like hook up with somebody.
into the images and lives of ideal
And then I got bored of it because, like, you know, it's meaningless sex, so it doesn't really matter.
males who they sometimes get attention from or even hook up with once or twice. All of this overinflates women's egos to an unnatural level.
No, I don't think so. I actually think quite low of myself. I don't really have much of an ego. I would consider myself to be like slightly below average.
And female preference is changing. It has changed. We are now preferring emotionally intelligent men, non-violent men, and men who are self-aware and support our reproductive rights.
Personally, I don't think you would turn down a conservative guy if he was 6'6" and had broad shoulders.
You don't know that.
Almost any woman would make an exception for that. Come on.
I don't think so. Like, maybe in terms of like hookups or like one night stands or like sexting, yeah. I've sexted with somebody that was super dominant. You know. Either way. You know, she was super dominant. She was right wing, but like, you know, she was just like, I made an exception for her in terms of like sexting. Like, I would never make that exception for like an actual relationship. Right? Does that make sense?
I know I would. Just admit that political differences are only a deal.
Yeah, women don't really care about looks. That's not true. Women do care about looks. But I do think that the incel community inflates the extent to which they do. But it's not like they're indifferent to it. Also, is my cat trying to get in? Give me a sec. If you're attractive over a certain age, it gives women the ick. Why? Why would that give them the ick? That's so fucking weird. I'm more attractive than most guys I see or who are or have been in relationships, yet I'm incel. Okay, you're just autistic and you're not looking in the right places. They care about looks initially, but it's just a prerequisite. Okay, so yeah, they do care about looks because it's a prerequisite. That means if you don't have looks, then they're not going to give a shit. Anyways.
Breaker if the guy is small and unattractive to you. And like
they think it means you're gay or a serial killer? Well, that's fucking stupid. I don't think this is true. Like, I don't think I don't think I will ever change in that regard. I will always prefer people that are attractive to people that are unattractive when it comes to my sexual preferences. Like, that's never going to change. And I will fucking bawl my eyes out crying as soon as I, become like super ugly with age. And I will probably end my life at that point because then there'd be no point. Because like, well, what's the fucking point if I'm like extremely chopped? Like I already like think about it, because it's like, I already don't like the way I look and I just can't imagine looking even worse than this. I don't know.
I said earlier, it doesn't make sense for women to prefer men who are a foot taller than them while also claiming that you're selecting for less violence. Tall men are built for domination, Shelby.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're violent.
And if men...
Well, yeah, but like domination and, violence are going to be like more personality oriented, not physical.
Were less apathetic about working at themselves and became interesting people, they wouldn't be unfuckable.
I'm surprised you're unaware of the age-old trope of the attractive, boring person. It's common knowledge that it's unattractive people who are more often the more interesting or skilled people since they've been forced to adapt and make themselves useful or face complete ostracization. But
yeah, that's kind
many
of
of us fail to adapt and we become discouraged because it's a very difficult.
Yeah, like that's generally going to be the case as to why like, attractive people, you could say on average are less interesting because they've never had to like actually struggle. That's not always going to be the case, especially, if you used to be ugly and you had a glow up, which is going to be my goal, is to like, have a glow up and just like still be interesting. But
thing to do.
It's not a mystery. Men don't connect emotionally anymore. When men get together, they usually isolate themselves in a room and watch sports alone and drink beer while the women are doing all of the work.
It sounds like you're picturing Alabama boomers in your head and stamping that onto every man in every generation. To be honest, I don't give a fuck about sports, and I'm pretty sure the majority of involuntarily celibate men don't either.
Real.
And plus, I don't like worshiping tall, rich jocks who get paid millions for being genetically superior.
Fucking based.
It's more of a red pill hobby.
But lonely men are such weirdos that we are just afraid of being touched without...
This guy's generalizing people based on appearance, WTF. I think we all do that to an extent without even realizing
consent.
it.
While I am definitely a weirdo, you definitely don't have to worry about me touching anyone without consent. And that goes for most other lonely men too. And as for my consent, I'm actually radically the opposite. I want to be essayed by a tall woman with broad shoulders.
Okay, base. Me too.
And there are other inkwells out there like me who dream of being non-conned by a tall, dominant woman.
Sam.
These men expect us to submit. And to that I say submit to what? Poverty?
Yeah, and everyone in my chat's gonna be like, Sam.
Abuse, because that's the reality.
As I said, Shelby, some of us lonely men out there are like me and actually don't want women to submit. We want to submit. And I wouldn't mind getting manhandled either.
Only men can cure the male loneliness epidemic. The ball is in their court. They are experiencing the consequences of their own actions.
Okay, the individual men didn't create the patriarchy though. That's just like the system that's in place. Right? It's not going to be the case that you're born as a man and you somehow have like created the patriarchy on your own or like, like did anything to make it worse. I mean, maybe it's the case that, you make it worse with your actions, right? But there's no reason to assume that. Some people are born into it against their will and don't want it to be that way.
How is it my fault that my growth was stunted by chemicals I was exposed to as a child? How is it my fault I stopped growing?
I think it's me if I didn't choose to be a woman. Well, you didn't choose to be a woman. You just are one.
When I was 12? To tell us that only we can solve our problems is like telling an orphan child that it's his fault no one loves him.
Yeah, I think this is, I agree with him here. Like, I think it's I think it's fair to I think it's fair to say that like, yeah, you shouldn't blame yourself for like, you know, systemic issues at play.
This isn't a male epidemic of loneliness. It's a female epidemic of ego. You're blatant.
No, it's a systemic issue that negatively affects everybody, not just men, not just women. And that's what I mean when I say these people are talking past each other. Because everyone is harmed by this, not just men, not just women. But one group of people faces one set of issues while the other group of people faces the other. But just because you don't face one of the sets of issues doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And it's just like so annoying to watch this because I've faced both. I know what it's like to be on both ends here. And it sucks either way. Society treats you like shit no matter what.
Victim blaming is really bringing out the dark triad in your aura.
No, she's not dark triad maxing. She's just talking past you.
Say they want traditional women, but they call us gold diggers for only choosing men who are able to provide.
Again, not all of us want traditional women. I exist over here. What's funny is how quickly you contradict yourself. Isn't women only choosing men that are able to provide just another iteration of a traditional relationship? You
Yes.
can't have your cake and eat it too. Don't take advantage of a man for resources only to not provide him the kind of partner you promised to be. That's like breaking a contract.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like if he's expecting something and you say that you want to provide that, then like, yeah.
The system that
I wouldn't say it's breaking a contract. I mean, people can change as well. Like people can change their mind and that there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes relationships don't work out in the long term and that's also okay. It's not something that necessarily makes, you know, either person bad or wrong or, you know, nobody is, you know, in the wrong there. It's just sometimes shit just doesn't work out. He sounds like such an egg. Yeah, maybe. Look, I'm not going to say anything. I will let him figure it out. Yeah.
oppressed us for centuries are finally changing tides and punishing lesser men. Yet they blame us and not the system. They blame our rejection and not the systems that have made them unlayable.
It sounds like you're happy that the system is punishing lesser men. Now that it's doing what you want and punishing middle or lower class men and boys born into a system we had no part.
Yeah, I think that this is the issue with a lot of this, you know, sort of liberal type rhetoric is that it like doesn't acknowledge the fact that like, okay, like if say for instance, you do this, you take this measure, you know, like it's not going to actually address the root issue. It's just going to address it parentheses for people that are disprivileged in other ways, right? People that don't have the power to evade it.
In creating, you dump the burden of responsibility for the system onto the people suffering the most from it.
Yeah, I would agree. It's just like ignoring the obvious class struggle.
It's almost like punishing innocent boys is something you voted for. You can kind of see how this whole woke white male hating culture boys grow up in might.
Okay, but like the culture isn't hating men. The culture just hates people in different ways. The culture is hating men and women in very different sexist, essentialist ways.
Lead us to blame people like you for our problems, since women like you pushed for it the most.
Daughters are no longer being raised to be wives and mothers. They are being raised to be productive people in society.
Yeah, I'd say that's good.
Mothers are the most productive members of society. Without them, a nation crumbles, and
True. Though I'd love to be a housewife.
bad ones create lives of suffering and pain. And what's with the sudden reverence for productivity? I thought you rejected the 9-to-5 trap and respected those who refuse to participate in society.
Yeah, that's based.
That's an awfully capitalistic statement you made.
Yo, based? Okay, wait, based? Okay, maybe he's not necessarily in favor of capitalism. I would have thought he was.
Confuse you.
It's kind of funny to me because
I think he holds enough contempt for people that are in positions of power that I could get him to realize that socialism is correct. Because he already has like all of like the necessary variables required. He understands that it's bullshit that the people in positions of power have power. He actually questions the system. He just doesn't always do it in the right ways. But he's so fucking close. He's so close. Femi looks so precious. No.
men want a housewife, but they don't have a house.
You sound.
I think assuming someone who's questioning their gender is just trans, just putting them in a different box instead of letting them choose themselves. Again, gender isn't something you choose. It might feel like you're choosing, but at the end of the day, like, no one would choose to transition if they weren't trans. I don't know. I wouldn't view it as a choice. I view transitioning as a choice. And there are also going to be some people that are ambivalent to their gender. So maybe in your case, it was a choice because you're ambivalent, where it's like, well, I don't care if I'm a guy or a girl, but I'd be like a little bit happier as a woman. So I'll just transition. And that's like also a thing. And I would just view that as like a form of non-binary.
Comically sheltered and privileged when you say this. The first time I heard it, my blood pressure spiked. It's unbelievably infuriating
He just needs a dom woman to tell him that socialism is right. Yeah, true.
to have someone like
Unfortunately, I'm not dominant.
you who had easy success building an online
Or tall.
income stream. Shame men who had no choice but to struggle through poverty and corporate grinds through decades of economic depression, only to never be able to afford a home unless we inherit it.
Mm-hmm. And who's at fault there? It's going to be the people at the top. And how do we stop them? Well, the way that we stop them is by having checks and balances. Say, for instance, giving us, the people, a democratic say. So, for example, if we were able to elect democratically our CEOs, our managers, etc., if they don't have our best interest at heart, we vote them out and we vote for the next person, right? Therefore, de-incentivizing greed and exploitation. Now, it's not going to be perfect. There's still going to be corruption, but it also incentivizes a lesser extent of that.
If women like you weren't so sheltered, maybe you'd get it.
I have more respect for a homeless man living off grid than I do for a cuck that fell for the 9-to-5 psyop.
Ah, there it is. Another contradiction. You glorify
I mean, I don't know. I would have equal amounts of respect for them.
women being taught to be productive members of society while rejecting the conventional career path. Although I admit you can be productive as an entrepreneur, which seems to
Yes.
be what you're doing. Just don't forget how much of your success was from luck and thirsty men who want to throw you money because they enjoy findom.
I can't tell you how many times that I
Chat, is that why you donate money to me?
was just being friendly with someone, not thinking anything of it.
To be fair, it's like 1 in the morning in my, or no, it's 3 in the morning now. My channel is dead, so I'm not making any money on this. But, you know, you get the point.
Only to realize that it was
No, that's something else.
being taken and interpreted as flirting.
Honestly, this happens to me constantly as a man. I feel like a complete buffoon when I make that misjudgment. So I basically always assume women are just being friendly now.
I feel like, yeah, it becomes more obvious when women flirt with me after I transition. Like, I never am unaware of when women are flirting with me at this point. Maybe lesbians are just, like, more, like, direct. But it's like, if, you know, but, like, I don't know, they'll just, like, kind of, like, tease me and get me all flustered. And, like, they just, like, keep doing that over and over again. And then... That's how I know that they probably like me, because, you know, pattern recognition.
Women can be very cruel to us, so most men are like me and just avoid the risk entirely. But occasionally, one of those women actually was flirting, and I had no idea. Again, I'm neurodivergent myself, so maybe y'all should try to make your flirting a little more obvious to us.
Yeah, fair.
It's not in our blood to become wives and mothers, and
I do love to see you blush, Kaya.
it's not all men who are able to protect and provide.
But for many women, it is in their
He's right there. He's so close to seeing the actual issues. I know. That's why I like this guy. He's so fucking close to greatness.
blood. Just because you don't
Femi blushies are so adorable. Though No, shut up. Nuh-uh.
like it yourself doesn't mean you should shame women who do. As for men, you're damn right we're not all made to provide. A little manlet bitch like me would have to submit to a dominant partner if I would want any chance in hell of surviving in the Stone Age.
Dude, that's so fucking based. That's so real.
I couldn't provide for
Same.
myself, let alone a woman.
Yo, same.
Women want help around the house with cleaning and childcare. Most of them are also working full-time and still expected to do all the house chores in the house.
In situations where this does happen, it's almost always a woman making concessions for a highly attractive man that they never would have made for an average man. Obviously, if she's being financially trapped and this is happening, then yeah, that's terrible. But sometimes women choose that over being with a short guy who's fair to them.
We refuse.
Well, yeah, like, if they're not attracted to somebody, is that really their fault, though? Like, yeah, you're gonna be in a relationship with somebody that you're attracted to.
To be dominated.
Unless it's by Chad, right? If women refuse to be dominated, then
Well, no, I don't want to be dominated by Chad. I want to be dominated by Stacy. That's the difference. But like, hey, who doesn't?
why
Who
is
doesn't?
50 Shades of Grey so popular? If anything, most of the women out there
Because it's a fantasy. It's not real. They don't actually want to have that happen to them. It's something that like they fantasize about, but like they know that like if it were to happen in real life, they would fucking hate it. Like it would not be good.
are more attracted to dominant men.
Like one of the things that I fantasize about all the time because I'm an exhibitionist and a degradee is getting humiliated in public. I don't actually want that. I don't want, I don't want to be, exposed like that publicly to people that aren't consenting to it. Right? But the idea, I like the idea of it. But like in reality, like I would hate it because it's like, oh, like this is, we're doing this in public, people aren't consenting to this, like this is fucked up, and I'd feel terrible about it. And I wouldn't find it hot. I'd just be like, yeah, this is terrible, right? Because there's people that aren't consenting to it. Right? So consent is key. And if there's not actually consent, then it gets very different. I hope that makes sense.
As long as the man is tall with broad shoulders.
Ugly guy who pays the rent and helps clean up is your roommate.
Having an attractive face helps too, but that's an afterthought.
If men were genetically wired
I don't know. I don't think it's an afterthought. It's something I look
to
at.
protect women or their communities, they wouldn't be committing the majority of violent crimes and starting wars and committing every atrocity since human beings came into existence.
I hate to break it to you, but males can be wired to protect women in communities while also being wired to be violent. All you have to do is look at primate communities. They protect their females with their lives, but they also literally rip apart the male members of other tribes and capture their females. The male is wired to be violent so he can protect, but also to take from others for himself if he's the largest, which helps him provide even more for a female.
I mean, yeah, if it's the fucking Stone Age.
And a man is not a plant. He can leave you high and dry. He can
I think a lot of women are attracted to really ugly guys. Yeah, because they're straight and they're so fucking... They're delusional. Straight women are delusional.
drain you of all your resources and leave you worse than dead.
At first I thought she said a man is not a plant, especially since she said we drain her, since plants drain
I mean, yeah, men aren't plants.
soil
I
of
agree.
water and nutrients. In reality, women drain men, both figuratively and literally.
No, I think that both genders drain each other.
But no, she actually said a man is not a plan. I think that applies to all genders, to be honest.
Being a stay-at-home mom is a flex and a status symbol. It's not something that's accessible to everyone these days.
Now there's a statement I agree with. Being a stay-at-home mom is absolutely a status symbol.
Well, yeah, because that means that like the person that's not staying at home is able to provide enough for the family for them to not have to both work. So yeah, like in this economy, that's very difficult.
Provides the children of the elite with a much better, healthier upbringing, since their mom has more time to procure homegrown produce and homemade organic meals. Kids from families like that grow up bigger and stronger. Height is a status symbol too.
This guy sounds like a cuck. No, he's based. Why are you hating on my boy?
Men shouldn't be bashed for having feminine traits, and women shouldn't
Like, disagree with him all you want. I'm disagreeing with him, but like, I think he's great.
be bashed for having masculine traits.
Again, I agree with this too. I basically am into role reversal. People bash me for it all the time, and yeah, it's wrong to shame someone for breaking the mold, but me,
But he might be into it a little bit. Just a little bit.
I honestly kind of enjoy being teased and bullied for being a subservient manlet.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew it. Let's fucking go.
And I prefer women who have masculine traits. Towering, broad shoulders, V-shaped figure, flat chest, muscles, big hands and feet, wealthy CEO, rich family. I love it.
Men hate OF women.
Hell yeah. Dude, that's so based.
Men hate
That's what I'm saying. He's so fucking based. I love it.
that women are monetizing their sexuality.
To be fair,
Like if I was a dominant straight woman, like I would get with this guy. Well, maybe not because I wouldn't be tall enough, but my genetics wouldn't allow me. But if I was like a tall straight woman, but like with the same personality, then like I'd be like, fuck yeah, like where the fuck you at? Where you at, bitch? Come over here and fucking clean my dishes, and then I'll peg you.
most men aren't happy about it, and it's
I'll peg you after work.
It's definitely not a good thing for the dating ecosystem. I'm upset with the women who give money to feed that machine of exploitation.
No, it's not a trans guy. He's just
It's a massive transfer of wealth and power from men to women. These men are a result of a system designed to keep them single, and they're being taken advantage of. That said, I personally don't judge you for doing it, because if I was a woman, I would milk the shit out of that. I wouldn't even judge my female cousins for doing it. There are a lot of beautiful women in my family. I could have been one of them, and my life would have been amazing.
You know, he says shit like this, and it makes me wonder, okay, is this really a cis guy? Is he really cis? You know, he's like thinking like, my life would be so much better if I was a woman. I don't know. Usually you don't think that if you're a cis guy. It's like, no, I wouldn't want to be a woman. No, I couldn't be a woman. I'm a guy. But this guy, he's a little bit open to the idea. He's like more like, yeah, if I was a woman, I'd be happier. Boy, do I have some news for him. You can be a woman if you want. You'll get hella bitches. My makeup is good. Thank you. I am only wearing eye makeup.
Incels believe
Literally only wearing mascara. I just got some big eyelashes.
that they are entitled to a woman simply because they exist, and they act in violence when they don't get it.
But do
Girl, I'd have it so easy if I was a cis woman. Yeah, my life would definitely be easier if I was a cis woman.
words count as violence this time, Shelby? Y'all have used that term so loosely that it's practically lost all meaning. Videos like this tend to contribute to that collective loss of credibility. Obviously, you guys know I'm not violent at this point. I don't even give a shit about finding a girlfriend anymore. Haven't even bothered trying in like 3 years.
Well, that's why you don't have one, is because you stopped
All
trying.
I care about is this YouTube channel.
Men must provide.
This is what I mean. Is like this guy is like eerily similar to me. Like this is like me in an alternate reality. That's like the kind of fucked up part. I don't know.
Not just financially, but emotionally and physically.
Jesus Christ, is this really how bad most women are? That they literally expect everything from us? We put in all the effort and get nothing in return. Nothing but your presence and apathy. How can you expect young men to provide all that shit for you in an economy like this, Shelby?
Yeah, I don't think most women expect that.
Dream on. We're all fucked, not just women.
There are no
Okay, I agree. Yeah, everyone
systemic
is
barriers preventing men from going to college. Instead, education is being devalued and being seen as feminine and unmasculine.
Education isn't seen as unmasculine.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, in right-wing spaces it is, because, you know, right-wing men hate education. They hate things that are scientific. They hate anything grounded in reality. Instead, they'd rather, you know, believe in, you know, delusional shit like religion and, you know, shit like that. And they don't want their worldviews to be challenged.
Men have had it hammered into them their whole lives that they are the problem with society.
No, Kai is onto something. His issue is that he was trying too hard to find someone. Trying to find a girlfriend isn't how you find one. Well, that's just not true. That's just not true. I found one from looking.
Everything is our fault. Boys playing war games with toy guns is seen as toxic. Their energy is psychoanalyzed and medicated as
Yeah, I don't think that should be seen as
a
toxic.
disorder. And it only gets worse in college.
No, I grew up, you know, like pretending that sticks were lightsabers.
I've had multiple bad experiences being berated and demonized by female leftists for no good reason in college. Those are so...
Okay, here's the thing. It's like, I'm like an actual leftist. I'm not one of these... Look, I've been berated by other leftists for being too edgy or like saying that, you know, conservatism is a disease, which it is. Dude, there was a liberal woman at my college that got mad at me for saying that conservatism is a disease, because she's like, well, that's Islamophobic because Islam is conservative. And I'm like, well, then Islam is wrong. And anyone that believes that shit, you know, if they're conservative, if they're anti-trans, is a fucking disease. All anti-trans people deserve to go in the wood chipper. That's where they belong, is the wood chipper. And she got mad at me for saying that. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but like your delusion, your delusional belief in a religion, you know, doesn't justify actual real fucking prejudice that exists in the real world, right? All religion is delusional, right? But they couldn't handle the fucking truth. Because at the end of the day, you know, they think, oh, it's Islamophobic to say that religion is delusional. So I understand that, but that's not like a leftist position. Like, leftism isn't getting offended by shit. That's not what that means. It's like, you know, a true leftist would say, yeah, religion is just like a delusional control mechanism, right? It's literally just a control mechanism to keep the masses, you know, in place, in society, keep people in their place through the fear of God. That's what it is. It's literally just another authority. It's very authoritarian in nature. Like, if you look at the structure of Christianity, it's very authoritarian, right? And there's a specific reason for that. There's a reason it's authoritarian. It's because they want that to be the norm. They want you to believe that authoritarianism is the status quo and that that's how things should be. That's all it boils down to. And that goes for a lot of these religions. Islam is no different. It's literally just copium for the masses. All a religion is cope. It's a fucking disease. And, yeah, people at college did not like me for that take. Like, I basically was, like, joining a friend group, and me having that argument, basically made it so I could not join that friend group. It was just, like, a bunch of fake Twitter lefties that I guarantee you, these same people that were saying, oh, you're Islamophobic, I guarantee you, they don't understand structural issues. They don't understand socialism. They don't even know what socialism means. They probably think it's when the government owns stuff. Yo, thank you, Batalcrafter, for the 10, saying no way this guy should call himself an incel. He is far too sweet and thoughtful to be saddled with that label. Yeah, I think he's using it in like a really autistic way of being like, well, I'm involuntarily celibate, so therefore I'm an incel. Right? I understand where he's going with this. But yeah, I would not call him an incel. He calls himself that. But if he stops calling himself that, then obviously I would change the title.
Stories I'll tell in a future video. But on top of it, guys get fewer grants for college. And there's less reason to bother going when you know DEI is going to hold you back from getting hired. The cost outweighs the benefit. And at a certain point, when the world is unfairly against you, yet expects everything from you, if you can't escape the wage slavery, you may as well lay down and rot.
They are attracted
real
to us and yet resent our emotions.
Cute hair for me, thank you. I decided to make my side part slightly more extreme again.
And who we are as people.
I would bet you consider yourself an empath, Shelby. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But it's
It's just like an assumption.
ironic that you say we resent your emotions. I'm very tolerant of a partner's emotions, as long as I don't feel unappreciated. In my
Yeah, that's reasonable.
experience, it's women who are intolerant of men's emotions.
I don't think that's true. I think that's just like a societal thing. I don't think it's women specifically. I think that society broadly, you know, tells men to just like shut up and bottle it up and be strong. That's just like not a healthy way of existing. And that's why men are more mentally ill on average than women, right? It's because of shit like that. But again, that's going to be a direct byproduct of the patriarchy, whether you realize it or not.
I once had a woman tell me that she was disgusted that I was grieving my grandma's declining health.
That's fucked up. Yeah, no one should say that. Holy shit.
And said that I was pathetic. And that's not my
That's really fucked up.
only experience. It seems women just want robot men who don't
Okay, but like this isn't a woman thing. This is a societal thing. This isn't just women that are like this. There are men that would say the same shit, and they're just as fucked up for doing so.
have our own emotions. We only
But yeah, no, the person you're describing sounds like an actual fucking sociopath. Like, that does not represent most women. I've noticed that like hell, when I was growing up, it was always guys that would bully me. Like, I grew up as like a guy, right? You know, I didn't transition until I was 19, and you know, it was always the other guys that would, you know, pick on me. It was never, you know, the girls were always nice to me. I never had any issues with like girls being mean to me. You know, I don't know, like they would always like, I don't know. They were also more likely to find my humor funny for some reason. I don't know why. They just did. Like, I'd say some shit, and like, I mean, I was generally like a pretty funny person growing up. Just like because of the type of shit I would say. I mean, hell, that's how I became a YouTuber. It's just like me wanting to, you know, say funny shit. I've honestly, you know, sort of lost sight of that a little bit. I've gone more into, you know, politics and, you know, more serious shit, and that's sort of what I focus on now. But, you know, my first YouTube channel and even my second YouTube channel, like the goal was to just be like as funny as possible. And it worked. People liked that. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Just attend to theirs. Lucky for you.
Me too. Girls have always been nicer to me. So it doesn't make sense for me how so many incels are against women. Again, I'm an incel, but I definitely prefer women to men. Yeah, exactly. Like women were just like always like more understanding to me. I don't know. Like that's what I've noticed. Like men didn't give a fuck. It was always like other guys that would like treat me like shit and like, you know, bully me. Like I never got bullied by women. So yeah, I don't know.
That's coming out soon. What's funny is that this requirement always slips away when Chad enters the picture.
I don't think that, yeah, because like now that I think of it, the only women that have ever treated me like shit are other trans women. Now that I think of it. I mean, maybe there have been like a few TERFs every now and again, but it's like they're like old and disgusting, so like it doesn't really matter. Yeah, they're not really people, but you know.
Gender roles differ significantly across cultures and historical periods, indicating that they are not biologically determined, but socially created.
That doesn't really make sense to me, Shelby, considering our less advanced primate ancestors all have similar male-dominated gender roles. We're not much different from them, and I haven't seen much evidence of gender role-defiant cultures throughout history, except maybe one or two. Trust me.
Well, I just don't think, I think that you can adhere to gender roles of your own volition, and I think that's fine. I just don't think that they should be societally enforced or even encouraged. I don't think they should be discouraged or encouraged. I think you should be doing whatever you want. Right? And that's the way it should be.
I would love that to be more true. I want to defy the fuck out of gender roles, but I don't think such cultures are as common as you think. And by the way, part of defying gender roles means dating shorter men.
When men are asked...
Yes, but obviously, you know, it's going to depend on what you're attracted to.
What they do if they were women for a week, not a single one of them said submit to a man, dress modestly, and care for children for free.
Of course they wouldn't want to do chores if they were only going to be women for 1 week. They'd want to live it up and make the most of it, obviously. Ask them what they'd do if they were women for life, and you might have a different answer. Personally, if I was a woman, yes, I would use my body to grow exponentially on social media and build a business. But I would also enjoy locking down Chad as a trad wife.
I mean, yeah, but that's like, you're already like submissive in nature. So like, that really doesn't surprise me in your case.
Probably pull it off too, especially when you see how I...
Oh my god, please transition, please transition, please transition. You would look so fucking good as a woman. Oh my god. Oh my god, wait. I saw the potential before, but I think I was underselling it. I don't even think that he would need facial feminization surgery. Oh my god. Yeah, very egg behavior. Yeah, putting himself in face app to make himself look like a woman and being like, man, I'd look so much better as a woman. Man, my life would be so much better if I was a woman. I'd breed her. Yeah, exactly. Think about all of the beautiful, tall, lesbian women that would fuck you as a woman. I'm just saying. You look cis-femme? I don't see it.
Look as a female. And I'd probably be well endowed too, considering the family genetics.
Well, there is a solution. There is. He's 29. That's the thing. He looks younger than he actually is. And if he transitions, he can look 20 when he's 40. That's the best part. Like he can like extend like his like span of time in which he's attractive too. That's the other thing. So, you know, if he turns out to be trans, then like, man, that could honestly fix his life. You know, transitioning and whatnot. Oh yeah, you definitely look cis because I thought you were my ex at first glance. I've had a lot of people say that I look like their ex, and I think that's very interesting.
Male loneliness epidemic is full of...
I look younger than him when I'm older. Yeah, but you have like, you're like You're like low testosterone as fuck, aren't you? Didn't you say you look like a femboy?
Expendable leftover males who fail to become sexually desirable for one reason or the other.
Oh, so we're expendable too? Our lives have no value? I mean, you're basically right, but you don't have to rub it in our...
Dude, this is what I don't understand about straight people. Like, they just... like, they view things in this way, and it's like, I see straight men do this, I see straight women do this. It's like... I think the world would be a better place if we all just acted like we were fucking homosexual, okay? I'm not even joking. I did go to school with a cis lass who looked just like you. Was she hot? You blocked me last time for speak to my mind. I think you're an asshole, a male asshole. Yeah, least retarded conservative. Holy shit. You're actually so brain dead. You blocked me last time for speak to my mind. Fucking hell. Is it racist to say go back to your country to somebody like that? Am I allowed to say that?
face, that's just cruel. What's more cruel is to blame our lack of desirability on us, as if we have any control over our frame, height, or facial structure. You know, those factors are also impacted by poverty and less access to fresh, healthy food.
I agree.
So you're basically victim blaming the disenfranchised lower class and...
Okay, but so he understands class issues. Wait, this is a really good start. He only mentions them in the context of how it, you know, affects him, but no, he's so close to greatness.
Calling us disposable trash. Congratulations, Shelby. You're a capitalist. Obviously, Shelby made a big mistake recording this video. She eroded her...
I agree, yes. She is a capitalist, and that's a bad thing. I agree. She should be a socialist.
Credibility and trust.
See, look, he's like an adorable little guy. Like, there's got to be women out there that want to peg him. I mean, come on. I think if he got rid of the facial hair, to the dominant women in chat, he would be more breedable if he, you know, was like clean shaven, right? Like if he got rid of like the body and face hair, like the cope beard. Look, I don't know if I'm gonna go that far. We don't know if he's trans, okay? He did show some signs that are very similar to me. If he was a she, I'd smash. Type shit. She did well first. Not my type, but definitely nothing wrong with her, and other guys were very into her. Trans girls are so hot. Hell yeah. You could get so many lesbians if you transitioned. I'm telling you, you'd look better than me, I think, if you truned. I'm not even joking. I actually believe that. Like, you are genetically blessed, just not in a very traditional way. Like, you're not fucked genetically. You literally have, like, perfect transition genes. Kai, nah, you're like a 10. I am not a 10. Holy fucking glaze. That's fucked up. How is that fucked up? Okay, it's true. Dude, he would be a gigapassoid. Yeah, shaving has like a massive influence on your appearance. It could be night and day. Yeah, exactly. Like I still think that like he's like, you know, a fairly cute guy. I think a lot of dominant women would already find him attractive. Personally, I find femininity hot, not just trans girls. Yeah, I think that if he like, you know, got rid of the facial hair, got rid of the body hair, and just like started femboy maxing, dude, the amount of big, strong, dominant women he could get. Because like I'm telling you, like, I mean, he already knows that like his main demographic right now is bisexual women. He would attract them more if he did that. And I've told him this. I think this guy has a lot of potential. And he's not even bad looking either. He would be cute as fuck, TBH. That's what I'm saying. Right? If he got HRT, laser hair removal, you know, or at least was clean shaven, put on the maid dress. I'm telling you. Oh, God forbid he puts on makeup. Oh, shit. It'd be so over for me. He'd mog me. Trans people in general are hot. I'm bi though, but I definitely like my men as femboys. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He's inviting controversy. I had to say something.
That's what I'm saying is most dominant bi women prefer femboys. And I love women that are super dommy. Yeah, same.
By the way, I think the main reason she interacted with Raymond
So you like your men submissive and your women dominant.
and Loser Max
It's so real.
is because they're over 6 feet. I expect her to see my channel, see that I'm short, not care how handsome I am, and see me as not even worth 5 seconds of time to listen to or give a morsel of attention.
I mean, if so, then yeah, that'd be fucked up. I don't have reason to believe
But
that.
that's the life of a short guy. You can have a pretty face and still be seen as less than an unattractive
Yeah, but like, dude, just be a femboy. Please, God, be a femboy. You would actually, dude, I'm sorry. You have femboy phrenology. The only thing holding you back would be like the facial hair. But like, dude, you could femboy mode. You could transition. Like, there's so much. This guy has no idea how much power he could have, how much potential, how much power he could have in the dating market with dominant women. He'd be like, dude, he'd be like a dominant woman magnet. I mean, he'd also be attracting a lot of dominant men too, but he's obviously exclusively attracted to women, so he would just ignore them and go for the women.
tall guys. By the way, I know Loser
Short boys make the cutest trans girls in the world. Exactly.
Maxxing said you look like a horse, but it's okay. I like women with long faces and noses. Unfortunately, the horse look only really works if you're tall.
Oh.
And also, we should ask ourselves if Shelby's collecting disability checks here. Because this YouTube channel / art business looks awfully profitable, and I think the income limit is $1,600 a month. Is it really
Okay, I don't care
really
about
fair
this.
for someone with a flourishing online career to also get free taxpayer money while we live?
Yes, it is. You don't understand. This shit is not sustainable in the long term. This shit is not sustainable unless you're literally famous. This is not sustainable for me even. The only reason that I do this as my main thing is because I'm moving in with people that also make money. So it doesn't really matter that much. Like, they've straight up told me, even if I made nothing, they would want me to move in with them because they think I'm cool and they like me.
Lives of poverty with no hope and no future. You slave away in your wage cage while she lives the dream. Please like the video and subscribe if you want more. I also made a similar video analyzing the height shaming event a few weeks ago with Ana Ocasio-Cortez. If you liked this video, you'll love that one. It's very, very similar.
Interesting. We might watch that on stream at some point. Bi women hate me because I'm hairy. Yeah, just shave. You moving soon? Yeah, I'm just fucking waiting for them to hurry up. It's like making me anxious as fuck. And I'm waiting for them to get back to me and like... But yeah. Chat. Do we watch 3 hours of loser maxing? Do we watch 3 hours of this guy? I don't think I wanna. Dude, r/nice guys video. Androgenic exposes everything about looks maxing. Dude, oh, okay, 4 hours? Fuck no. 2016 was the last good year. I'm curious about this. I need to know.
I don't know about you guys, but to me, there was something magical about the year 2016. Something we may never...
Is it nostalgia, perhaps? I'm nostalgic for 2016. I'm more nostalgic for 2017 and 2018, even though at the time I hated those years. But like, low-key, looking back, like, that's like when my life got a little bit better at around 2017 to 2018. Yeah.
Never experience again. If you were too...
Like, it was kind of a garbage year in terms of like internet stuff, kinda, because like it's like the rise of Jake Paul and like shit like that, and like YouTubers getting demonetized. But like You know, other than that, it was like, you know, for me, it was actually like, you
Young
know,
to remember, I genuinely feel bad for you. Because for a brief, shining moment, there was this overwhelming sense of freedom in the culture.
is this your, are you low-key promoting your boyfriend's channel? No, this is not my boyfriend. We're both submissive bottoms, so it wouldn't work.
It flowed through the memes, the music, and the way people talked online. But by the end of summer,
Yeah, I miss when people said the N-word.
you could feel
Fem's taken? Kind of. I'm a polyfag.
the shift. The election was coming. And
I'm a polyfag, and I wouldn't consider it like, I wouldn't consider them like serious relationships. I just consider them like casual, more like casual, fun relationships. I don't want to get too emotionally attached to people because I will get hurt if I do.
the corporations, the social media giants, they saw the chaos, the fun, the honesty, and they
Are you alt-right? No, quite the opposite.
decided to shut it all down. 2016
Who is they? Is it they, triple parentheses, the Jews?
wasn't just the last good year. It was the last free year.
I don't think that's true.
In this video, I'll break down what made 2016 so
I think 2024 was like kind of peak. I thought 2024 was a great year. That's like my favorite year.
special. Not just to me personally,
I hate these angles. They really play up how short he is. No, that's the point though.
but in a broader cultural sense too. I'll explain why the so-called golden years before it were really just a build-up to a peak, and why everything after was just a slow, depressing decline.
Nah, dude, I think 2024 was the best year. 2025 was like the worst fucking year, I swear to God. 2025 is horrid.
Before I dive into what made 2016 so magical, I need to set the stage. Because as much as people romanticize the early 10s now, those years weren't the true golden age. They were just a build-up. A slow climb towards something that would briefly peak and then crash and fall. From 2012 to 2015,
That's how I feel about 2024.
there was this strange cultural energy forming. You could feel it in the content we consumed. YouTube was still wild and unfiltered, back when Angry Video Game Nerd and Doug Walker, the movie reviewer, still had that
Yeah, but it's like if you look back and you watch like an old Levy video that got archived, it's like his videos were dog shit. He was never that entertaining. iDubbbz was pretty good back then. But, you know.
special touch and magic that made them so great. Vice documentaries actually felt raw and interesting, rather than steeped in left-wing bias and white guilt.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck you're yapping about. White guilt where? Are you thinking of fucking BuzzFeed?
It almost felt like popular culture was imitating me, rather than the other way around.
Are you imitating popular culture now? I don't think you are.
Folk music was making a comeback. Reggae, ska, indie, all of it had soul. Everything I loved was popular, down to the fashion of the day. Stoner culture was peaking, right before the weed legalization dulled the edge post-2014. And if you were online, you might remember Slender Man, creepypastas, McJuggernuggets and his Psycho Kids series, the Minecraft.
Yeah, but like a lot of this shit just like isn't as good in retrospect. Like we think of it as like being better than it was because like we're thinking of like the memories of how fun it was to, you know, watch YouTube when we were younger. But at the end of the day, like the content isn't worse now. Like there's plenty of genuinely good content creators out there.
Trolling era, MLG montages.
Like in retrospect, are MLG montages that funny? Like yeah, maybe we should bring back MLG montages. I mean, this was my humor at the time too.
YouTube poops, all that unhinged, chaotic creativity that made me laugh harder than anything since.
Okay, real.
It's almost like humor died after 2016 because
No, it didn't. Humor still existed. I was very, very humorous. I feel like I died inside. I think what he's describing is like a more internal thing, but he's externalizing it for some reason. Like I feel like humor died after 2024.
I kind of just stopped laughing after that. This was also the time I finally got decent internet, around 2010. But I didn't go all in on YouTube as my primary source of entertainment until around 2012. That's when everything changed for me. And it wasn't just content, it was my worldview. The internet brought a renaissance to my life, but it also brought the dark enlightenment that I share with you in my videos to this very day. 2012 brought with it discoveries about society, chemicals, the elites, and how my growth was stunted. Discoveries that veiled my life in a dark shadow of depression that never quite went away. The year was also defined by the anticipation.
Yeah, well, like it's just as easy. Well, I guess with AI now, it's like probably a little bit more difficult to learn stuff just because like AI is just wrong about a lot of things. But like aside from that, like on average, it's gonna be easier to learn with like more stuff on the internet. Though to be fair, actually, you know what? No, because like even without the AI stuff, Google has gotten worse. No, he's kind of right.
Of Armageddon with the end of the Mayan calendar. The History Channel was filled with shows about ancient aliens, the end of the world, life after humans. And I reveled in it as a 15-year-old, addicted to the fear. The polar shift may not have happened, but something definitely did.
Yeah, I was even younger than him. I mean, I'm 21. I think he said he's 29. So, yeah.
Life was never the same after that year, and I'm wondering if you felt it too. From 2012 to late 2015, I was in my personal dark age. Most of my time was spent gym maxing, lifting, eating, tripping, or getting high or drunk. I was obsessed with growing taller, stressing myself out over eating the perfect organic diet and avoiding chemicals. In the end, it didn't
Yeah, in the end, it didn't do anything because like a lot of it is just going to be genetic.
work, but I tortured myself over it anyway.
Again, it's also going to have to do with, you know, malnutrition. It's going to be a combination of like, are you malnourished? And is it the case that I don't think it has as much to do with chemicals. Maybe it has like a small impact, but I don't think it has to do with like, you know, the chemicals in the food and water as much as it has to do with like, are you, you know, like legitimately malnourished, or, you know, what are your genes? Your genes are going to be like the primary variable that are determining of that.
I was in denial over the fact that my growth plates fused at age 12 and was already too late. Still, there were magical moments.
So what it sounds like is this guy went through precocious puberty, because that's not normal. Like he must have started puberty at like age like 8 or 9, and as a result of that, he would have grown much earlier, and then he would have stopped growing, and then everybody caught up and surpassed him in terms of like his height and shit. So, what he had actually would have been preventable if he had access to necessary medical care. So if it was the case that like, you know, his parents noticed, oh, you're going through puberty very early, let's take you to a doctor, and then they do that, and then it's like, okay, here's some puberty blockers, which mind you are something that, you know, they don't just benefit trans people, they also benefit kids with precocious puberty, then that wouldn't have been an issue, right?
From that time, a certain magical fungus and perforated sheets of paper gave me a kind of hope. This belief that I was special and that the universe put me here for a reason, to help guide humanity out of the age of scarcity and into the age of abundance, with a plan to help preserve.
Now we're in the age of wealth inequality. That's what we're in. We're in the age of late stage capitalism. But this wasn't any different in 2016. This wasn't different in 2010 or any of these years. We just weren't aware of it yet because we hadn't thought about it that much.
The future of human civilization through industrial hemp and the power it has to replace petroleum-based products and unsustainable fuel and building materials. This was a foundation of...
Yeah, I remember. I used to think that Elon Musk was going to take us to Mars. Oh, such a good time. Oh, how wrong I was.
my passion for business and entrepreneurship. My youthful energy, the green tobacco...
And then eventually you realize that business and entrepreneurship, you know, is something that, you know, it's like you're either barely scraping by or you're one of the wealthy elite. And there's barely any people that are in between.
Depression, it all collided to create this short-lived golden era of creativity in my life. I was writing real, original music. I was singing well. I was drawing objectively beautiful artwork that actually expressed my angst, sorrow, and longing. That pain gave me drive. And I had fun with my friends. Real fun. Unforgettable, life-changing experiences and moments that formed the man I am today. All packed into a short 3-year period. I even had fun by myself. And don't mind my reindeer red nose. I don't usually look like this. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Are you tired? Because the same thing happens to me when I'm tired. Like when I get tired, especially if I like took Adderall that day and like I'm like, it's like worn off and I'm like getting really tired. I have the same thing happen to me.
I started college back in...
He's definitely an egg. Look, I'm not gonna say anything. I don't wanna pressure him into transitioning. Like it's up to him at the end of the day.
2014.
Though he would fucking slay in a maid outfit.
Moved into my dad's trap house with a friend. Back then, I spent pretty much all my time either gym maxing,
TMI, we don't want to hear how you have fun with yourself.
partying, or chasing grades.
Okay, that's kind of real though.
And I regret that. Because back then, that was the era where you could grow a YouTube channel fast. No algorithmic throttling, no fear of getting shadow banned for an unpopular opinion.
Well, that's not true. Okay, I think that this whole shadow banning thing is completely overplayed. I don't think that... I think on TikTok you can get shadow banned quite easily, but on YouTube, no, not so much. If you could, I would have been shadow banned by now. I say some crazy shit. I make some of the craziest jokes ever. Maybe I already am shadow banned, but, you know, regardless, I'm just, you know, I have a dead channel, but like, you know, it's not completely dead just because I'm that entertaining, but... You should dress him up. He'd probably like that. I don't know. I could like pretend to be like 6'3", and he'd be like, he'd instantly do it.
The recommendation system was actually useful. You'd watch a video and it would suggest something similar. Not just what it thought would keep you addicted. That meant new creators could rise. You could actually be discovered.
To be fair, I gained, you know, 50,000 subscribers within a couple of years of creating a channel. So there's that. I actually struggled way more to grow my channel, you know, back in, you know, from 2016 to, you know, the pre-COVID era. The pre-COVID era, it was way harder for me to grow a channel, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I was always ahead of my time. Like if you take a look at like a lot of my my older content, which was a lot more artistic in nature. I don't know if I'd say artistic. I mean, it was like a certain type of comedy. It was just like, it's like the kind of shit that you would, you know, today would be called brain rot, right? But it was just like retard humor is what I called it, right? And a lot of that shit, I mean, there's stuff that didn't age particularly well. Like, I mean, ear rape. I don't know. Ear rape is kind of coming back though. Like if you like, for instance, in what's it called? I think it's in the We Are Charlie Kirk aggressive funk remix. Like it's just like the Gen Alpha version of ear rape. Honestly, it's like kind of the point. It's just like loud equals funny type shit is included in that. So I don't know. Maybe it's making a comeback. Either way, a lot of my content was very ahead of its time. And it would have performed way better in a YouTube Shorts format in many cases. Because it was like, at that time, it was like you had to make like videos that were like 10 minutes long and like, you know, all this fucking shit. And honestly, it would have been easier if, you know, I could have just like made videos that were like, you know, 1 to 3 minutes long. And if that got promoted in the algorithm like it does now, right? Yeah, it's coming back as funk edits. Yeah, exactly. Skibidi Toilet also brought it back, TBH. Yeah, you're right. Dude, I quite literally was very ahead of my time. Like, too much, in fact. Now, as I age, I'm going to get less and less ahead of my time. Because, you know, you stagnate a bit. Eventually, I'll be behind the times if I get old enough. But I've always been ahead of my time for my age. So, yeah. That's just kind of how it goes. But
one of my biggest regrets is not taking advantage of the abundance of free time and the opportunity I
you're annoying and I hope you age fast. Well, I won't because I have good skincare. Cry about
had
it.
To make a life for myself out of this golden age. I used to have a blast by myself playing Morrowind while drunk and pretending to do Let's Plays. I was genuinely funny and had the energy of youth with a brain that was still witty and sharp and not yet dulled by a decade of depression and disappointment.
I honestly felt that. Like, I had way more passion as a teenager when it came to content creation. But I was so fucking bogged down by school, I couldn't do it. And then by the time I'm free, it's like I've been fucking mentally brutalized by my life, school, and gender dysphoria.
If I would have quit with the gym maxing and actually made and uploaded my Drunken Morrowind Let's Plays, I would probably have my own house by now, and the money
I don't know if that's true.
to actually
Like, most entertaining people don't make it.
change the world through hemp and achieve my dreams. But of course, I was fooled into thinking bodybuilding and college were more important. What a massive miscalculation. Social media was freer too. Facebook wasn't the brain-dead zombie scroll it is now.
Dude, I'm sorry, you're old if you use Facebook.
It helped you find like-minded people and stay in touch with friends. Instagram showed you posts from people you actually followed, not algorithmic guesses at what
Okay, to be fair, Instagram Reels are fucking goated, okay? You can't say this when Instagram Reels exist now. It's like, dude, I'm sorry, but like, you know, in 2016, did we have, you know, Nazi swastika George Floyd font edits? I don't think so, dude. we didn't have this epic, we didn't have, you know, racist Family Guy. We didn't have all this, you know, awesome stuff. Yeah, it's not just entertainment. You gotta have massive amounts of luck. And I'm luckier than most, and I'm not famous.
Might hold your attention. Twitter was a mess, sure, but it wasn't yet the dystopia of modern censorship and bot reporting that it became after 2016.
Yeah, to be fair, I've been banned on Elon's Twitter more than on original Twitter. So the whole notion that, oh, Elon Musk's gonna save us from censorship is bullshit, because right-wingers don't actually give a fuck about free speech. They just LARP. But now that they're in power, now suddenly they're very pro-censorship. Oh, who would have guessed?
The early to mid-2010s were the last era of true internet freedom. A time when indie creators could thrive, when free speech was still held sacred online, when
Yeah, I feel like I'm one of the few people that actually holds free speech sacred in the big 26. To be fair, part of that's because I come from commentary.
Reddit was libertarian and not totalitarian, and when platforms had human moderators instead of bots and trust and safety teams trained to sanitize thought. And 2016 was the crescendo.
I do hate the sanitization of social media. It's all corporate. But again, this is something that, you know, this is a leftist critique. Like the idea that everything needs to be clean and sanitized and, you know, uncontroversial and not thought-provoking. I mean, this is a very pro-corporate stance to say that, you know, everything needs to be sanitized. So the fact that he's arguing against it, he's inadvertently very close to a leftist position.
The last high note, the final moment, before it all went to shit. But for me, the night was truly darkest just before the dawn. My dark age reached its lowest abyss in the year of 2015. By that time, I was a drunken mess. I was literally falling apart, both mentally and physically.
Can you see the link I sent? I do not see any links. Oh, wait, there's one that's up there. Maybe I'll look later.
My insecurity surrounding my height and inferiority complex reached such a peak that I decided to pull the trigger on a permanent solution. Years of being constantly crossfaded and turning to the bottle to block out my dark thoughts had led me down the path to ruin. My brain was pickled. Envy and self-hatred destroyed my ability to focus in class, and my grades plummeted. I destroyed my reputation.
Why does he speak like a TikTok villain? Y'all are brutal. What
horrible things to people I knew in real life on Facebook while I was drunk. Just
nice fake teeth, you lefty. With their real teeth, I just had braces growing up.
Lashing out at everyone from my past and taking my anger out on them. I made a lot of enemies, and I lost touch with reality.
Like, what if I were to have fake teeth? Why would I not have them like more white than they are?
By fall of 2015, I couldn't even read the room.
Why does he look like Shane Dawson? He mogs Shane Dawson. Let's be real.
Enough to see that a guy I thought was my friend actually hated me and was just too much of a pussy to tell me not to come over. If you want the full story on that, you can watch my video about why I don't miss having friends, which I'll link in the description. But yeah.
Hey, I'll be your friend.
By November of 2015, I had basically lost all my friends. Some moved away, others ghosted me. One went to jail and came back a different person. So 2016 started with a void. But what came next is unforgettable. For me, personally, 2016 was the year that everything clicked. The world still felt alive, expressive, and full of possibilities. And I had more hope than I've ever had since. The end of 2015 was a turning point for me. If you've seen the videos in my origin story playlist linked in the description, you already know the details. But long story short, I was on the edge, finger on the trigger, safety off. And then something snapped. Instead of wanting to escape my life, I surrendered to it. Everything that once caused me anguish now was a source of euphoric bliss. The nightmares of being hype-mobbed became erotic dreams. The tall women I was so repulsed by became the object of my desire. And from that moment on, I embraced being small. I had never felt so liberated in my life. Not even in my childhood had I ever felt so carefree. And this personal revolution set the stage for 2016 being my own personal roaring 20s. And the timing of the culture and economy.
Yo, he watched Filthy Frank too. Let's fucking go. He's so real for that.
All just came together to create the most beautiful year of my life. I quit gym maxing. I quit height maxing. Quit obsessing over purity and chemicals and diet perfection. For the first time in years, I was eating fast food, guilt-free, and drinking beer without spiraling. I lost a ton of weight, including most of my muscle mass, constricting my calorie intake to 1,200 a day. But it was all under this strange fantasy that some tall mistress was controlling my food supply. I actually
That's so fucking
liked
real.
it. I felt small. I felt helpless. I had surrendered to power, and it felt so good.
So fucking based.
The spring of 2016 started with a blessing in disguise. My old Dell computer finally died, along with my entire gooning library and every file I ever saved. So I went and ordered a brand new cyber-powered gaming PC that arrived in May. Top of the line, along with a nice new L-shaped desk. And that was the beginning of what would be the best summer of my life. That
Okay,
summer,
type
I
shit.
experienced the magic of what became my all-time favorite game, Fallout New Vegas, for the first time ever.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. He's definitely trans. There's no way this person isn't trans. Okay, I'm sorry.
Hooking up my PC to my new flat-screen TV, doing my first ever playthrough as a manlet character, shrunk with console commands and handicapped with the small frame trait. The same kind of build I've tried to replicate in every single Bethesda RPG I've played since then, including the Fallout London footage you're seeing right now.
It's not even a joke anymore. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're playing Fallout New Vegas, you're definitely trans.
I made my character an extension of me, an alcoholic who loved beer, running around with a sawn-off shotgun, not taking sides with any faction. I would listen to my playlist of Wild West country music, which expanded upon the in-game library of songs. And that became the theme music of my life for the rest of 2016.
Dude, whenever I would game and listen to music, it would be Chicago drill, so maybe we're a little bit different there.
Never been so immersed in a video game in my life before or since, playing this character of a drunken Mad Max cowboy manlet hick that compensated
For real, she check. Okay, don't say she because like he hasn't ever identified as trans, so we can't make somebody identify a certain way. But there are a lot of telltale signs
for weakness with chems. I felt tuned in to my ancestors, since I've got family heritage with history along the wild frontier of the Southwest. In all honesty, that was the most fun I'd ever had in my life, other than a couple big parties I went to in 2019 before life changed forever. The only downside was that it was one of the hottest summer and fall of the 21st century so far, only being beaten out by 2015. And we didn't get air conditioning in our house until 2017, so I had to cool myself continuously with fans and wet paper towels. And since it was
Yeah,
before
that
I discovered
sucks.
dry shampoo, and I was too entranced by Fallout New Vegas to take more than one shower a week, my hair was
Damn,
majorly greased down.
damn, that
It
sucks.
thinned out a little bit, and my scalp itched like crazy. I broke out with ringworm or some kind of fungus on my scalp, but I didn't really give a shit. And even when I started showering
That's so fucking real.
more often, it didn't go away until I cut down on the beer. I was completely alone that summer, too. All my friends were gone, but somehow I didn't feel lonely. I felt peaceful, like I was exactly where I needed to be. And I knew, even back then, that the good times wouldn't last. I remember watching my grandpa
No, that's real as fuck though.
drive his tractor across the property and feeling this pit in my stomach, like it might be the last summer he'd ever be healthy. And I didn't want to think about it. So I buried that dread in beer and gaming and deli sandwiches and tall girl fantasies. And it worked
Week, just fill your room with giant ice blocks.
for a while. It was also the year I was the skinniest I've ever been. The first year I had finally stopped gym maxing and focused on school, and somehow became an A student after nearly flunking microeconomics just one semester earlier. I was 20 years
Really?
old, and my libido was at its peak. I had
Type
these high
shit.
hopes that I'd find some statuesque woman out there who wanted to dominate a short guy. That's what fueled me. That
So fucking bad.
and gooning to my freshly rebuilt spank bank.
Of course, of course.
I remember earlier that summer, I met this 6'1" trans woman through Facebook.
Hell yeah. Okay, based.
I remember earlier that summer, I met this 6'1"
Damn. I'd let her rail me. Goddamn, he looks like he's having a good time.
trans woman
Though he got to grow his hair out. What's with the buzz cut?
through Facebook. Had a lot of fun with her, even though I technically got SA'd by her roommate. But to
Damn. That's
be
crazy.
quite honest, I didn't really give a rat's shit. It barely fazed me. In 2016, the culture hadn't fully turned yet. You could still say something online without being banned for it. You could still grow a channel without the algorithm smothering you. But I missed my chance. I thought it would last forever. That's why
Yeah, but you'd have to change your content to adapt. So, like, it wouldn't be any better.
2016 felt so good. Not just because of what
Just casually dropping the essay lore, damn dude. I mean, fair enough. I mean, more power to
it
him.
was, but because of what we didn't even realize we were about to lose. But it wasn't
Yeah.
just me. 2016 was the last great year for most people. Culturally, online, economically,
I don't agree with this.
that perfect sweet spot before
Economically, yeah, fair. I don't disagree with
everything
that.
turned to sludge. Let me know in the comments if you disagree, but try to hear me out first. When it came to gaming, the decline had already begun, sure. Fallout 4 was a clear downgrade from New Vegas. I didn't even bother buying it. But it still wasn't
Damn.
that bad. I wasn't cynical yet. The industry was still riding high, and there were still so many incredible games out there. Microtransactions hadn't yet taken over yet, and games weren't commonly built around monetization tactics, creating a problem to sell you a solution to, like many are today. Honestly, the only other year that ever came close was 2007. Peak era for MMOs and gaming in general.
Man, I was like 3 years old in 2007. Life was horrible back then. I fucking hated my life. You know, from like 3 years old to like, you know, all of elementary school was fucking horrible. Middle school was pretty bad. It wasn't as bad as elementary school. Same thing with high school. Pretty bad, but it wasn't as bad as the other two. But yeah, my whole life has been dog shit now that I think of it.
People played
Yeah, I was 13 getting bullied in those. Yeah, exactly. In 2007, I was 3 years old. I was 3 in 2007.
for the adventure, not the efficiency. The journey.
Chaser arc, he's not a chaser, he's just into dominant women. I don't think he cares if somebody is trans or not.
Not the end game. Back then, old school RuneScape didn't feel like a job. Bots weren't
I would assume he has like a bit of a preference for cis women, but that he doesn't really give that much of a shit. As long as she's tall and dominant.
as prevalent. Games were creative, weird, full of heart. Nothing was overly optimized to death like it is now. I might make a video about 2007 if this one does well, maybe in 2027. Even the online multiplayer experience was
Dude, that's like 1 year away.
different from today.
Dude, this is a classic. Dude, average fucking British male.
You could say literally whatever you wanted in lobbies without fear of getting banned or losing access to a game you paid for just because someone got butthurt over a few words.
Man, I say slurs all the time and nothing ever happens.
So yeah, you're gay.
Obviously not on YouTube because like I like money, but you know. But like on Discord, it's like if you're in a VC, like fucking
It was chaotic, but it was real. That's what I miss most, the rawness of it all. The internet still felt free, unpolished, unfiltered, not yet
Aren't you a typical American male? No, the joke would make more sense if you said Polish male.
overtaken by corporate sterilization or algorithmic control. You didn't need to censor your personality to survive. You didn't have to tiptoe around your opinions just to stay online. You didn't
I still don't have to do that. I say whatever I think. You just have to like word it slightly differently, which is fucking retarded and gay, but like it's not as bad as you
have the
think.
account you painstakingly built, constantly held for ransom over your head like you do today, living in fear that all your hard work might be taken away, either by misunderstanding the increasingly complex terms of service, being reported by malicious actors, or even an AI moderation glitch.
I feel like it's gotten better actually. Like my shit got like my entire channel was fully demonetized for a year because it got false reported. So it actually got better because it realized that it was bullshit.
2016 was the last year before mass censorship and deplatforming became the norm. Before every platform had a panic button for offensive content. Back then, we had H3H3, iDubbbz, Filthy Frank.
And now we have Joji, iDubbbz as a cuck, and H3H3 as a whiny man child.
Max Mofo, and anything for views.
I don't know what happened to the other two.
eating cigarette hair cakes, smashing tables,
Dude, so base.
getting plastered, and vomiting into each other's mouths for views. And it was unpredictable
based.
comedy gold, unique to that final free year.
So my name's Ethan Klein, and I'm the CEO of Vape Nation.
Dude, that's a classic.
You know, it's healthier. Cure cancer, cure diabetes. I do it for the health effects, honestly. I just feel like it's good for me. Vape Nation.
I'm gay.
It's a classic.
In 2016,
Classic.
YouTube was a true meritocracy. The best videos would
Maximo Phone, anything for views, started the Cold Ones podcast, and I heard, and it's pretty chill. I haven't watched
organically
it.
rise to the top.
I guess I was aware that they started a podcast, but I just never watched it, so I don't know what they're up to or what they're like.
No matter how controversial they were. It was a time when YouTube was still abundant with genuine wonder and mystery. Before everything had a wiki, and you still couldn't say for sure whether Waffle Pone or McJuggernuggets in his Psycho Kids series were real or staged.
Come on, it's like obviously staged. Maybe I was just always cynical, but I always knew that everything was like, you know, like fake. I knew that like Morgs was like doing like a bunch of shit for money and views, and like people like acted like it was like, you know, people were acting like he was just like that, or like didn't realize that he was being cringe on purpose. Like he was being like, I was like the only person at the time that knew that he was being cringe on purpose so that people would talk about him. It was like nobody else picked up on that at the time for some reason. People were just like, guys, isn't he so cringe? And it's like, yeah, but it's like obviously the point. Same thing with Mr. Tinfoil. Like I remember watching Leafy make videos on him. I'm like, dude, this guy is obviously shitposting. I wouldn't have used the terminology shitposting back then, but like I was like, dude, it's so fucking obvious. He's like trolling. Like he's obviously a troll. Like nobody should take this seriously. Like what are you doing? You're retarded.
People wanted to believe the magic was real. That line between fiction and reality.
Man, I never believed that shit. Maybe I was just like smarter than everybody else. I don't know. Morg was smart with how she marketed herself. What? Morgs is a dude. What do you mean she? Did Morgs transition?
Reality still hadn't been fully mapped out yet. Back then, Tumblr actually had value to me as a website. Visually.
Yo, same. Same. Except, no, low-key, the smut on there is fucking golden. There's so much good smut on there.
Not intellectually. Before they banned NSFW and removed some of the best pages on the web.
Yeah, but like there's still so much NSFW on there. It's really easy to find. They don't bother moderating it anymore. Everyone thinks like, oh yeah, Tumblr doesn't allow NSFW, but it's like you go on there and there's so much good stuff. It's like clearly NSFW. Maybe not as much mainstream stuff, but all of like the underground stuff has stuck around.
Historical.
I liked J-Station. Dude, J-Station was like another one where it's like, what he did was so fucking stupid that it was hilarious. I mean, he was like more like genuinely kind of retarded, but like people didn't give enough credit.
Tragedy. TikTok wasn't a thing in the Western world until 2017, and Vine was barely a thing, at least in my world. And
Dude.
Musically was a cringe fest that nobody I knew watched.
Dude, I remember Musically. Dude, I remember I'd watch videos about Musically, about how cringe the people on there were, which is like strange in retrospect. It's like, you know, because when I would watch those videos, I was like around, like I was like slightly younger than the people that were on there. Like I didn't think anything of it because like Jacob Sartorius, I think he's older than me. I think he's like a year or two older, isn't he? Like, isn't he like 23 now or some shit? I think he's like 23. But he was like, I don't know, like 13 at the time, and I would have been like 11 or 12. Yeah, I would watch like fucking Rice Scum make fun of him. And it was like, yeah, that was the shit. Now in retrospect, it's like, ooh, like I can't imagine being the adult that makes fun of them. That shit seems like a bit fucking gay. Like that's a bit strange. Like, what are you doing?
Back then, you still had the time and the opportunity to become a content creator on a new or not yet saturated platform. That window hadn't yet closed.
She keeps saying retarded, like she wants people to know she's edgy and real. Yeah, I know. I'm actually like you know, an extremely woke faggot instead. Dude, what am I gonna do? You caught me. I'm actually fake edgy.
And the infrastructure of the internet still made sense. You could still own your media. Life didn't require that you sign up for 7 different monthly prescriptions just to access necessary tools or services. Most of the features that require
That's why H3H3 was always kind of a weirdo when he was 30 and ducking our kids. You're thinking of Leafy. I don't think H3 did that.
a subscription now were free back then. The bill hadn't yet come due.
I don't know. To be fair, making fun of retarded kids was kind of the meta back then. I don't know. I don't think that there's anything intrinsically wrong with like if there's like some dumb kid that's like talking shit, like if you like, I don't know, pull up their channel on like a live stream and make fun of them for like 5 minutes. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's like, yeah, you're making fun of them for being cringe. But like if you're dedicating your whole channel to that, it's like, yeah, that's a bit strange. I don't know. Like, it's just like, why, like, why are you spending your time doing that? I don't know.
For these Silicon Valley tech firms. They were still in the user acquisition phase and were competing to attract our usership. In 2016,
most kids are cringe. Yeah, and I think it's like fine to, you know, make fun of them every once in a while, but like if that's your whole thing, then like what are you doing? It's like, yeah, obviously, like, I don't know, like there have been a few times where like some retarded kid will say some like dumb transphobic shit in my chat, but they'll have like their face is their PFP, and then like I'll make fun of them for being ugly. You know, I'll be like, yeah, but like why are you like obese? Like why are your eyebrows severely asymmetrical? You know, why do you have such an extremely negative canthal tilt? You know, why is your jawline non-existent? You know, shit like that.
search engines actually worked. Live service and mobile games weren't dominating
Yeah, I miss that.
everything just yet, and multiplayer lobbies weren't full of hackers and bots. Even the economy felt more stable. By 2016, we'd fully recovered from the Great Recession. Inflation wasn't that bad. Food was affordable. Rent
And then Trump ruined
was
it.
doable. Fewer people's lives were completely owned by debt.
It's different if a kid intentionally comes at you, though. Yeah, I would never find some random kid and make fun of them for being cringe. I would feel horrible about that. And that's like what a lot of these people did. But like, yeah, like if some kid like comes here talking shit, like thinking that like, you know, he's gonna, you know, that like nobody's gonna fight back because it's just like some kid. It's like, no, you gotta learn how the real world works. All right, like because there are gonna be people that are way meaner than me, right? I can be mean and like maybe it'll make them like a little bit insecure about their appearance if I make fun of the way they look, or insecure about the way that they act if I make fun of their mannerisms. But like at the end of the day, like they're gonna figure out, okay, you can't just like, you know, talk shit to anybody you want and like expect nothing to happen. Now, if you can take the heat, then talk as much shit as you want. Like if you can take it, but you can't just expect people to like never, you know, make fun of you in response. I measure eras via Minecraft drops. Dude, the 1.16 era was so peak.
It felt like a worthwhile future was still possible. Even nature was still on our side. 2016 was the last year before wildfire season became a recurring nightmare.
Dude, low-key, I had a love-hate relationship with the COVID era because like I got so good at Minecraft PvP. It was crazy.
It was hot, yeah, one of the hottest summers on record, but it wasn't deadly yet. We had no idea what was coming. Looking back, 2016 wasn't just a cultural high point. It was the end of something. The final echo of a freer world before it all calcified into this homogenous, paranoid, sanitized dystopia we live in now. But the fall of 2016, that's when everything started to change. That was the moment the corporations finally took notice of internet culture, and it was over. They saw how powerful online creators had become, how much reach and influence these independent voices had, and they felt threatened. So they clamped down. Keyword suppression,
Mind you, if, say for instance, we had more government regulations against what corporations are able to do, which is a leftist position because, you know, the leftist position is that corporations are evil and need to be, you know, in terms of their power, stifled, I guess. Siphoned is stifled. Is it siphoned or stifled? Siphoned. Fuck, I'm sorry. It's like 4 in the morning.
random bannings, terms of service quietly rewritten behind our backs. The soul of the internet was slowly being strangled.
True.
Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but the YouTube drama scene back then, you know, Leafy is here, Keemstar and whatnot, I actually enjoyed it.
That's not an unpopular opinion. My opinion is the unpopular one. I thought, dude, I got bored of Leafy before iDubbbz made the content cop, and I always thought that Keemstar was fucking cringe and embarrassing. Like, I never liked Keemstar. I always thought he was like I could never fucking watch his shit. Like, I would occasionally watch his shit. Like, if there was, like, some, like, you know, drama that I wanted to learn about. And I was like, well, maybe I could make a video about this if it's interesting enough. But no, he'd always make some shit that nobody cares about. Like, I gave him a chance. Like, I tried watching his shit, and I was like, this shit is so fucking ass.
I felt like I was riding the cutting edge of modern culture. A world that was wild, chaotic, and sometimes toxic. But it was always entertaining. Then came the apocalypse.
I remember that.
PewDiePie said the gamer word.
What a fucking... Jeez, oh my god, what the fuck?
School shootings kept stacking up, and the mainstream media saw their opportunity. The Wall Street Journal ran hit pieces that painted everyone on YouTube as some kind of white supremacist.
Yeah, this shit was so dumb.
And that was the beginning of the end. I still remember the old iDubbbz saying, when it comes to speech, either all of it's okay or none of it's okay.
Fucking based.
Say...
Okay, I don't know how based that is. Like, you're going up to this person in person. You're going up to this person in person. You're fucking doing this shit. Yeah, iDubbbz sucks now. He's so boring. It's like, his politics are fine. It's just he's boring. Like, why did he have to become boring?
And now he chose none. And that shift hit me hard. Because I truly believe that free speech means everything can coexist, even the offensive stuff. That's how you
I agree.
keep liberty alive. Instead,
It has nothing to do with his wife. He changed. I fucking hate this shit. Oh, his wife made him do it. No, he just changed for the worse. Sometimes people do
sanitized it. We got this new wave of...
Like, how about, like, having, you know, some fucking agency? You know, he has agency.
brand safe creators, sterile, squeaky clean, algorithm approved. And just like that, the wild...
To be fair, I've never been squeaky clean, and, you know, I'm doing... Well, my channel's dead, so maybe that says
West
something.
was dead. And look, I get it.
I don't mind Ian becoming boring. He had to make a choice for his own peace of mind, and I can't fault him for that. Yeah, but he's acting like there was something wrong with his old content, which there wasn't. It's like he had to, like, go back and disavow, like, you know, some of his best videos. Like, why would you retract the Leafy content cop? Or the Keemstar one? Like, all the criticism there was valid.
Advertisers don't want their name slapped on a video about genocide or slurs.
I understand retracting the Tana content cop. That one aged kind of poorly. Like, that one was kind of retarded. But, like...
Fine. Make less money on those videos. But don't bury them. Let the people decide what goes viral. Not some corporate AI model playing censorship police.
Yeah, I agree.
When the adpocalypse hit at the end of 2016, it felt like all the air got sucked out of the room. By 2017, the internet stopped being this spontaneous, unpredictable frontier, and instead started feeling like a civilized colony with a strip mall.
Shia LaBeouf got into a shouting match with a white nationalist. Yo, Shia LaBeouf?
From 2017 onwards, it felt like the spirit started to collapse. And not just in the world, but in me too. Gaming
I think it's mainly a youth thing.
started to rot from the inside out. Fallout 76 was just the tip of the iceberg. Everything became live service, microtransactions.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, this is just like another example of corporations being evil. Like, everything you're saying is like something that could be fixed with socialism.
Digital rights management that punished you for having bad internet. Voice chat lobbies stripped away to curb hate speech. And instead of immersive worlds, characters, and storytelling, we got DEI politics.
Alright, this shit's retarded. Like, it's not fucking Sweet Baby Inc. making video games bad. Dude, we was LGBTQ samurai. Alright, that's a little bit funny, but like, dude. I mean, this shit's kind of retarded. Okay.
Loved into every corner of our one escape in life.
Dude, okay, this is like such a bad argument. Like, you're obviously watching shit from right-wing grifters, which you're above. You're obviously above that. I've seen your analysis. You are above these people.
Like someone was trying to take revenge on male spaces for Trump's
No, that's not
election.
No, that's not what that means.
I just move shit with my freaking mind! Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, wait. Corporations aren't woke, though. You know that, right? Corporations use wokeness as an aesthetic. They skinwalk. They skinwalk as if they are trying to become like me. But the thing is the woke aesthetic doesn't actually line up with wokeness or leftism. Okay, I'm about as woke as it gets without, like, you know, actually being insane. I'm pretty far left. But, you know, I'm not like this at all. Like, I have a fairly edgy aesthetic. I don't think you'd be able to tell what my politics are just from watching me when I'm not talking about them. Like, if I didn't say what my political views were or talk about politics ever, I don't think you'd be able to tell what I believe, right? Because at that point, I'd just be saying whatever the funniest shit on my mind is.
That is something I do now. I do magic, talk to sentient cuffs, kill jacked up beasts. You know what? I'll probably fly next.
Now you're just being ridiculous.
Meanwhile,
It's like, yeah, corporations are unfunny because they're soulless and evil. But there's a solution to that, and it's not capitalism.
YouTube
It's not deregulating the markets to make the problem even worse. That's not the solution, right? Because obviously it's the case that we don't have power over corporations. That is the issue. We need policies in place that would allow us to take charge as the people, that would allow us to stop being exploited. Why, like, here's the thing is a lot of the people that will complain about corporations will then, you know, be the biggest fucking corporate bootlickers when it comes to actual politics. No, the freer the market, the freer the people, even though we are literally oppressed by capitalistic structures, we are oppressed by owners of capital, we are oppressed by corporations, and they acknowledge this, but then they are like, yeah, but like, what if we made our oppressors even more powerful? It's fucking infuriating. The amount of cognitive dissonance these motherfuckers have.
shifted from creative chaos to cold optimization. Demonetization became the new censorship. Clickbait ruled the algorithm. You either min-max your content to fit a strict meta, or you got buried. It wasn't about soul anymore. It was about conformity. And TikTok? I hated that app with a passion.
Yeah, I don't like TikTok.
I used to see early adopters as clout-chasing traitors or literal PDF files.
Yeah, that guy was a pedo. This guy is not to give them more power. You know, freeing the market only gives the people at the top more power, more freedom to oppress us. All right, and we need to fight back against our oppressors, and ideally the government would help us with that, but they don't. They don't. They all are pro-corporate as fuck. But yeah. Anyways. Anyways. Fuck, what was I saying? We back? Yeah. We back, bitches. We back. We so back. We're more back than ever.
Hoping. I should have gotten into TikTok earlier because I missed the gold rush on that one. Just like,
yeah, I remember I joined TikTok as like a teenager, like when it was like new. There was like the gamer versus furry war, and I took the side of the gamers. I remember that shit. That shit was fucking peak. Now, if I were to join, I would take the side of the furries. You know, because I'm woke and gay now. But you know, it happens to everyone. But yeah, no. What is this video? It's a video called 2016 was the last good year. I don't know if I want to finish it or not.
like with Bitcoin. Around 2018, Tumblr got wiped clean of NSFW content. And
Yeah, that's cringe.
yeah, that actually hit me. All my favorite gooning spots gone overnight. And
Nah, for real,
all
bruh.
these broken links were just a metaphor for what was coming next.
True.
In 2019, my favorite creator of all time after McJuggernuggets, iDubbbz, turned on the very audience that built him, called us inkwells, talked down to us like some out-of-touch
Yeah, true.
celebrity. I was one of the first to unsubscribe. I even agreed with his stance on sex work being legitimate work.
Base.
But once he started mocking guys who couldn't get girlfriends, he was dead to me.
Well, yeah. Once he like turned on his previous audience, yeah, that's roughly when I was like, yeah, this guy
Same with
sucks.
H3H3 and Filthy Frank to a lesser extent.
Well, Filthy Frank didn't turn on his audience. He just like did something else.
They all sold out, became rich elites scolding the peasants. Even
I don't think Joji does that.
dating apps weren't safe anymore. I got banned from Tinder for calling out a girl who was farming followers by matching with guys and then ghosting them. That's how bad it got.
Okay, dude, just report their account for like, obviously, just like being there for like money.
You couldn't even speak the truth anymore without consequences. Mainstream media fell off the deep end, going from reporting the news to full-blown Trump derangement syndrome.
Dude, what are we talking about? What is Trump derangement syndrome? Saying bad things about Trump? The only people that are deranged when it comes to Trump are his fucking supporters that are sycophantic in nature and retarded.
Colleges, platforms, politicians, they all followed. Censorship became the hip new thing.
Yeah. You mean on the right? It's right-wingers that are in favor of censorship now. You're a little bit behind, my friend. Like there are like so many right-wingers that are saying that, oh, well, you made fun of Charlie Kirk after he died, even though it was fucking hilarious and the memes are funny as fuck. Well, you should lose your job and I'm gonna fucking dox you for it. It's like, yeah, like I'm sorry, but like, you know, this isn't like a this isn't some woke phenomenon. It's like, yeah, there's gonna be people on both sides that are in favor of censorship, right? In fact, I'd say right-wingers are way worse about it right now.
Words were now violence. And
yeah, he can't still be a Trumpy. There's no way. This guy is way too intelligent to be a Trumpy. Like, he has to know better.
Free thought was labeled as terrorism.
Yeah. You mean like when it comes to criticizing Israel? Yeah, I've noticed.
2017, my confidence also started declining, as I started realizing that it's going to be a lot harder for me to find a tall woman that's attracted to me than I thought it would be. But thankfully, my libido was still strong enough to push me to ask girls out anyway. And personally,
good shit.
In my 2017, the hits just kept coming. My grandfather, the only stable father figure in my life, had a stroke in 2017.
And that sucks.
Took 6 months to recover, then got diagnosed with cancer. He died in March of 2018 when I was 21 years old. In August of 2017, I was disowned by my dad without much reason. He said things to me that no father should ever say to his son. It broke me. We didn't speak again for 2 years.
Damn. That's kind of crazy.
By 2019, I was deep in the pill of darkness. Dating felt hopeless. My confidence had collapsed. My libido kept me afloat, but just barely. The world outside wasn't helping either. Wildfires became the new normal. The sky turned orange. The air
that's because of climate change.
smelled like the end of the world.
Yep.
2017 was the year the first massive
only people cared about the environment.
Fire hit this area in my lifetime. And it was really bad, like war zone levels of terror and destruction. But
without much reason, you called him leftist cuck, didn't you? Maybe he did, I don't know. I don't think he would do that today.
The late 2010s weren't all bad.
But maybe he used to be like that.
In the ruins, I found some beautiful things. Thanks to YouTube in 2018, I discovered the folk punk genre. Bands like Stick and Poke, Days and Days, Escape from the Zoo. And it
You didn't even discover my old YouTube channel?
changed my life. For the first
I think my old channel would have changed your life.
first time since
It's like
the summer of 2016, music felt magical again. That same year, I finally figured out how to style my hair and beard. It's the same look I have now. And I also
real.
started dating a lot.
But why not go for the femboy look?
Partied with my best friend who moved back home from Reno, got into a 4-year college and started getting straight A's. I got diagnosed with ADHD in 2019, and after a long fight with the system, I finally got the medication I needed, and my brain could finally work how it should.
Hell yeah,
Thanks
dude.
to some rare luck and my drinking habits, I met the right man at a bar and landed a good job right out of college that fall.
Type shit. Good shit. I mean, yeah, getting a good job is always going to be, a bit of a struggle for a lot of people. And I'm glad that he was able to get that. I think he's like an entrepreneur now. I think he has like small businesses that he runs.
I also finally learned how to install mods, which kicked my love of gaming into a whole new gear.
It's almost 5 over here, yes.
And just before the end of the
yeah, job, yeah. Yeah, dude, not the J slur. Don't get a J slur. That's bad. It's actually exactly 5.
decade, I found it. This mysterious Indonesian tea that will go unnamed. It cleared my brain fog, killed my alcohol cravings, and gave me the energy I didn't know I'd been missing.
Type shit.
And in November of 2019, I met her. The tall German girl from my profile picture.
Yo, I was wondering like what the lore is.
This new tea helped give me the courage to approach, and my powerful libido gave me the motivation. And those 2 weekends I spent with her were the highlight of my life. Closest thing I've ever had to a romantic relationship with a tall woman. Overall, by the turn of the decade,
Oh, wait, why are you still with her? What happened?
I felt like I was doing pretty decently for myself. If 2016 was the last good year, then 2020 was the year the mask came off and was put on.
Okay.
Post 2020 was the era when I got banned.
Is this no? This isn't satire. He's just kind of mentally ill. But I actually like him, even though I disagree with him on a bunch. He's like very open about stuff. He's not disingenuous, and he's not like completely retarded. Right? Like usually when I react to people like this, they're either complete grifters or like they're genuinely like subhuman levels of stupid. And you know, both of those things, you know, give me like a sense of superiority over them, obviously. Like why wouldn't it? But now this guy's like wrong, but he's not like but I wouldn't say he's inferior to me like you know, a lot of these, you know, other people that I talk about. Like I'd say he's like a decent guy.
From practically every major platform. Not for breaking laws or hurting anyone, but for speaking my mind or selling
Why does dude keep mentioning his libido? Probably because he's fucking horny.
a product they didn't like. Google ads, QuickBooks, Twitter, Reddit, even LinkedIn banned me. Though that one I managed to reverse, but still. The lockdowns in California lasted until 2022, and they didn't just trap us
shit.
inside. They isolated us from each other, tore apart families. Nowadays, everyone blocks and ghosts like it's nothing. And the riots, the media gaslighting, the rising censorship, it all pushed my...
Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't think that people should have been censored for like pushing misinfo or whatever during COVID. I think that like rather just like why not like, you know, argue against them for being wrong. I don't know. I don't think that we went about it the right way. But I think that like people on both sides went about it wrong. And I'm not like trying to like both sides this or whatever. I was generally more on the side of like yeah, you should probably like wear a mask until you get vaxxed. That was sort of my view. I thought it was like retarded when you had to wear a mask after you were already vaccinated. It's like at that point, who fucking cares? But yeah, that was like my stance.
Politics in the opposite direction of where they were in the 2010s.
Inferior, that's a weird way to think about people. Well, transphobes are inferior to me. They're subhuman. They're not people. They're not as sentient as me because like they obviously lack the intellectual capacity to be. Right? Like if someone is like so retarded that they don't understand the existence of trans people, even when it's explained to them, you know, even when I give them, you know, peer-reviewed studies that, you know, prove that like transitioning is, you know, the best way to live as a gender dysphoric person, you know, it's like, yeah, they're going to be like, they're obviously not capable of thinking the way that I do. They're obviously inferior to me. Like they're not like really people, you know, like they're just like kind of, you know, I don't know, maybe technically they'd be the same species of me, but like, you know, spiritually they're not, you know. You are wrong. Incredible counter argument.
Then came the AI takeover. Suddenly, free speech wasn't just under threat, it was gone. I couldn't even question the safety of a jab, hastily engineered by some of the most evil corporations in history, without getting censored, flagged, or silenced. And that's when I decided to walk away from the corporate world. I knew I'd never belong there again.
Well, I'm glad he's anti-corporate.
I don't want some employer telling me what I can and can't say or support, or what I have to put or can't put into my own goddamn body. Trying to grow an...
All right, okay, this is a dumb take. Okay, if we're talking about the vaccine, it's like, dog, just get the vaccine. Like, it's not gonna fucking kill you. Like, what the fuck is the vaccine gonna do? Give you autism? You already have autism. Make you short? You're already short. What do you think it's gonna do? Like, do you think they put fucking microchips in it? Like, dude, just fucking take the vaccine. It's not the end of the world. It's fucking dumb. Like, it's gonna be so that you're less likely to get COVID and therefore less likely to spread it. Or that's what it's for.
Audience online these days? It used to be hard. Now, it's practically impossible. Algorithms suppress anything real. AI-generated slop floods the feed. Creators and small businesses are terminated overnight.
I'm glad he's anti-AI though. That's what I mean. Is like, I don't know.
By bots.
Like this guy isn't like a complete retard. Like he's anti-AI, anti-corporation, right? He understands some level of systemic issues. Like he understands systemic issues on some level. It's just like the retarded anti-science shit. It's like, dude, fucking come on.
No explanation, no appeal, and no support. And worst of all, There's no such thing as a second chance anymore. New KYC or Know Your Customer laws, IP tracking, device fingerprinting. You can't even start fresh or use a VPN. They know who you are. And once
Yeah, I do think that that's also fucked. Yeah, I think that corporations know too much.
you're banned for life.
He's got some good stances, but overall super annoying. I actually have an overall positive opinion of him. I think he has some bad stances and that, but like I like him as a person. Like I think he's like a decent guy. He's just like kind of dumb about some stuff. He's got some like bad takes. I mean, he's also got some good takes though. That's the thing.
Social media is the new town square, the center for public discourse, and
I
it's
agree.
fully controlled by corporations now.
Yes, and this is a problem.
They pick the winners. They
Yes, I agree.
control the narrative. And if you speak against them, it's misinformation. What blows my mind is how many people defend it. They'll say, it's a private company, they can do what they want.
Yeah, I think that's retarded. I do think that the government should be able to, you know, have a say as to like, okay, like, you can't, you know, suppress the voice of the people. Like, I think that the government should be able to step in and say, hey, by the way, like, this isn't what the people want. You know, the people voted for something else, let's say, or somebody else, right? Like, I think that, like, at the end of the day, like, if we were able to, you know, vote for CEOs and managers of companies as a collective, this wouldn't be an issue because we'd vote for people that value free speech.
No, bitch. That platform belongs to
Then again, considering the voting habits of, you know, the American people, maybe they don't care about freedom because Trump's in office.
the people. Time to seize the means of production, motherfucker. And even if you do everything right in life, it still might not matter.
Are you sure he's human? You just need to demonize people you don't like. Well, this guy's human. Yeah, this guy is human. Also, I dehumanize people that aren't human. So, like, transphobic people aren't human, for instance. Hope that helps.
Because this is the worst economy of our lifetime.
He's anti-corporate because he just really wants to say the N-word. I think you're missing the point.
By the time life has any
I don't think you're giving him I don't think you're giving him enough credit.
promise again, I'll be pushing 40. My dreams, basically dead. But I won't pretend the last 5 years have been all bad. 2020 was the year I discovered dry shampoo, which, I'm not even joking, changed my entire hair game and improved my quality of life. Also in 2020, I started my own small business for the first time. And for once, I felt like I was building something real, something mine.
Yes, this guy is a small business owner. I was right.
And honestly, I'm happy to see the cultural and political land.
You're starting to sound like a Muslim, calling everyone that doesn't think the same subhuman. No, I'm calling people that are subhuman. So like this guy that thinks differently from me isn't subhuman because he's not like weird and transphobic and low IQ. But if you're like low IQ and you hate trans people for no reason, and you think that, you know, rape victims should be forced to give birth, then yeah, I don't view you as human. Like, sorry, like, yeah, some people just aren't worthy of being called human. It's just like, if you want to be considered human, fucking act like one.
Landscape swing back a bit in the other direction over the past couple of years. People are waking up to the lies.
No, but the issue is that, like, censorship is just as rampant, if not getting worse. It's getting worse under Trump.
But now it seems to be swinging too far. We're losing the separation between church and state.
Yep.
The same people who screamed about economic gaslighting during the last presidency
Yeah, it's almost like they're fucking lying and they don't actually believe anything.
are now doing
Whereas I've been extremely consistent, you know, in my belief. Obviously, I've gone further and further left over time, but like in terms of what I believe, it's not shifting with the Overton window. It's like I have like a natural progression of the things that I believe, and it's not relative to what other people
the
believe.
exact same thing today. It's the same bullshit, just different branding. So where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us in a world where dreams cost more than they used to, where freedom is a marketing slogan, and where being real online gets you shadow banned in seconds. And I still feel like the spirit of 2016 hasn't come back. The culture got sterile.
I feel like it came back. I feel like 2024, you know, I feel like there was like a lot of good shit in 2024. I liked 2024 quite a bit. That was like my year. 2025 was horrible. 2026 has been pretty bad too.
Everything feels commercial, algorithmic, conformist, or like it's trying to fool or scam you. You can't go viral unless you're safe, marketable, or soulless.
Yeah, I'm not any of these things, but I kind of went viral in 2020, not viral in 2024, but I was my channel was growing quite a bit. You know, before my channel died, like in summer of 2024, my shit was popping the fuck off.
And it's mostly men who've paid the price. The isolation, the silence, the feeling that
Okay, I disagree with that. It's not mostly men. Everybody pays the price of corporate greed, not just men.
being real gets you punished while fakeness is rewarded. But I believe there's one simple fix that could change everything.
Right, because women love being fake, of course.
There's a law that holds advertisers.
He seems like he's just stuck in the past. Well, yes and no. He does have some real critiques. Like, he is right that corporations are evil and need to be, you know, put in their place, but...
liable for the content their brand appears next to. Repeal it. That one move would gut the fear that drives all this algorithmic censorship. Brands wouldn't have to worry about offensive content anymore. And the Karen outrage mobs would have nobody left to blame.
Most Karen outrage mobs are right-wing, by the way.
On top of that, we need a law that protects free speech on social platforms.
Yes, I agree. I've been saying this for years.
The same way it's protected in public spaces.
I agree.
Social media is the new town square, and it shouldn't be run like a dictatorship.
I agree. I've been saying this forever just because of how anti-corporate I am.
Platforms should be required to give human users human moderation, warnings, second chances, clear appeals, real support. You shouldn't lose your voice just because some AI misunderstood your joke. If you've got more ideas, laws about copyright, game ownership, digital rights, or online censorship, let me know in the comments. I'm serious about this. Because this isn't just about nostalgia. It's about what kind of internet we leave behind. 2016 may have been the last good year, but most people say 2019 was the last normal year.
I'd say 2024 was the last good year. I really liked 2024. I don't know, like, why don't you like 2024? A lot of good shit was in 2024. I really liked it. It was fun. Like, it was like, you know, people were like edgy. Like, a lot of leftists became like super edgy, but like not wrong about stuff.
More ways than just the pandemic. But I'll talk about that in another video. And I'd also
2017 was pretty good.
like to know in the comments, did you feel the change that came after 2016? Was it a good year for you too, or was it bad for personal reasons?
It was bad for personal reasons because I was in middle school. I liked the online culture at the time. I thought it was super entertaining. It was like an escape for me. But no, I got bullied in school. So yeah, no, it wasn't great. Isn't X essentially ran without rules? No, I've been banned on Elon's Twitter multiple times. So maybe it's different now. I don't know. It's like, it's kind of bullshit because if you're like far left, you'll get banned, but then like you can generate literal fucking CP with Grok, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, Elon's not gonna do anything to stop that because he doesn't care. He's a pedophile. But yeah.
Let me know when your turning point was.
Man, I don't know. I've had many. Let me know when your turning point, USA, was. When Charlie Kirk died, that shit was funny as fuck. So, I was about to say something. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. Never mind. Anyways, I'm gonna end stream now. Those were some good videos to watch. I disagreed with a lot of his points. ChadletMaxxing, if you're watching this, I still want to talk to you on stream. Those are gonna be a lot of the things I want to debate you on. If we debate, because, yeah, so now you know what my positions are. You know where I'm going to disagree with you, where I'm going to agree with you, so that might help you prepare, if that's something you want to do. I'm not going to prepare because I'm lazy, so I just do everything on the spot. But yeah. Later, Femi. Goodbye, everyone. I'll do a Discord VC. Alright, nah, I don't know. I don't know, actually. In all honesty. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, love y'all. Bye. Peace out.